What if Mace Windu trained a Jedi to face Vader? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Darth Vader kneels in the dirt. His hand is gone. His respirator is failing. And standing over him is a young woman with a purple lightsaber, the same color Mace Windu once carried. She could kill him right now. One stroke. The most feared man in the galaxy, helpless at her feet. But how did we get here? How did the girl who watched her parents die become the one thing Vader couldn't defeat? And what does Mace Windu, a man the galaxy believes died 20 years ago, have to do with any of this? The answer begins with a fall. A fall that should have killed him. A fall that instead gave birth to something the Empire never saw coming. Because Mace Windu survived, broken, scarred, burning with a hatred he could barely contain. And in his darkest moment, he made a vow. If he couldn't kill Vader himself, he would create someone who could. A weapon, forged in secret, trained for one purpose. This is the story of that weapon. And this is how she brought the most powerful Sith in the galaxy to his knees. It starts with lightning. The lightning courses through Mace Windu's body like liquid fire, every nerve ending screaming as the raw power of the dark side tears through his flesh. His hand is gone, severed at the wrist by the very man he tried to save, and his lightsaber tumbles away into the endless Coruscant night. For a moment that stretches into eternity, he hangs suspended in the shattered window of the Chancellor's office, the cackling laughter of Darth Sidious ringing in his ears like a death knell. He had been so close to ending the Sith threat once and for all. His lightsaber had been at Palpatine's throat, victory mere seconds away. And then Anakin arrived, the boy he never trusted, the boy he always knew would bring ruin, the boy who proved him right in the worst possible way. "I need him," Anakin had said. The words echo in Windu's mind as he falls, words spoken by a man who chose a monster over the order that raised him, who traded the galaxy's future for empty promises of power. Then he falls. The wind howls past him as he plummets through the artificial canyons of the galactic capital. Towers blur into streaks of light. Speeders swerve to avoid his tumbling form. And somewhere far above, he can still hear that horrible laughter echoing in his mind. The Chancellor's face, twisted with sadistic glee, burns itself into his memory. And beside him, Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, the boy they pinned all their hopes on, standing there with his lightsaber drawn against a Jedi Master. Windu twists in the air, calling on the Force even as his body screams in agony. He manages to slow his descent just enough to avoid instant death, crashing through an awning on one of the lower platforms. The impact shatters his ribs, but he doesn't stop falling. He bounces off another platform, tumbles through a cluster of hanging gardens, and finally comes to rest in a pile of refuse in the depths of Coruscant's underworld. For a long moment, he simply lies there, staring up at the impossibly distant sky. His robes are scorched black, still smoking from the lightning. His flesh is burned in patterns that trace the path of Sidious's hatred, and his hand, his sword hand, ends in a cauterized stump that throbs with phantom pain. But he is alive. He doesn't know if that's a blessing or a curse. As consciousness fades in and out, Windu feels something that makes his blood run cold. Through the Force, he senses death. Not just one death, but thousands, tens of thousands. The bright lights of Jedi across the galaxy, winking out one by one, like stars being swallowed by an endless void. He feels Master Plo Koon's surprise as his own troops turn on him. He feels Aayla Secura's confusion as blaster bolts tear through her back. He feels Kit Fisto's final defiance, Ki-Adi-Mundi's desperate last stand, and countless others whose names he will never know. The Jedi Order is dying, and there, burning brightest of all before it too is consumed by darkness, he feels the temple itself. The younglings, the Padawans, the masters who stayed behind, all of them being slaughtered by a presence he knows all too well. Anakin Skywalker strides through those sacred halls with murder in his heart, and no one can stop him. Windu tries to move, tries to rise, tries to do something, but his body refuses to obey. The lightning has done too much damage. All he can do is lie in the filth and garbage of Coruscant's lowest levels and feel his entire world crumble to dust. When he finally loses consciousness, his last thought is of Anakin's face. The desperation in those eyes, the fear, the terrible choice that led to this moment. Windu should have seen it coming. He should have done something different. He should have trusted the boy more or less, or not at all. He should have killed Palpatine when he had the chance, regardless of what Anakin wanted. The regret follows him down into darkness. Windu wakes to the sound of scurrying feet and chittering voices. His eyes crack open to reveal a dimly lit tunnel, the walls slick with moisture and something that might be sewage. Creatures move in the shadows, things that have adapted to life in Coruscant's forgotten depths. They're circling him, drawn by the scent of blood. He tries to move and nearly blacks out from the pain. His ribs grind against each other, broken in at least 3 places. His left leg refuses to respond properly, possibly fractured. And his hand, his missing hand, still sends phantom signals to a brain that hasn't accepted its absence. But Mace Windu has not survived decades as a Jedi Master by giving up when things get difficult. He reaches into the Force, drawing on its power to dull the pain and give him strength. It comes harder than it should, his connection to the light side weakened by the trauma and the overwhelming darkness that now permeates the galaxy. But it comes. Slowly, agonizingly, he pulls himself upright and leans against the tunnel wall. The creatures in the shadows hiss and retreat. They sense the power in him, diminished as it is, and they know better than to challenge it. Windu takes stock of his situation. He has no lightsaber, no communicator, no credits, and no allies. His body is broken, his order is destroyed, and the republic he served has just been transformed into an empire ruled by the very Sith Lord he tried to stop. He is alone in the most hostile environment imaginable, hunted by an entire galaxy that now believes the Jedi were traitors. For a moment, he considers simply lying back down and letting the darkness take him. What point is there in surviving? Everyone he cared about is dead or soon will be. Everything he believed in has been proven false. The Jedi's 1,000-year legacy ends tonight, and there is nothing he can do to change that. But then he feels it again, that presence in the Force. Anakin Skywalker, burning with dark side energy, still hunting through the temple, still killing, still destroying everything Windu spent his life building. And something ignites inside the broken Jedi Master. Something that isn't quite hope, isn't quite determination. Something darker, more primal. Something that tastes like ashes and iron. Revenge. He will not die in this sewer. He will not give Sidious and his new apprentice the satisfaction. He will survive, and he will find a way to make them pay for what they've done. Mace Windu begins to crawl. The next few weeks are a blur of pain and desperation. Windu moves through Coruscant's underworld like a ghost, staying one step ahead of the clone patrols that sweep through even these forgotten depths. The new Empire is thorough in its hunt for surviving Jedi. and the price on their heads has attracted every bounty hunter and opportunist in the sector. The underworld is a maze of tunnels and platforms, a city beneath the city where the dregs of galactic society make their home. Criminals, outcasts, the desperately poor, they all scratch out existence in these forgotten levels, far from the gleaming towers above. Windu becomes one of them, just another broken figure shuffling through the darkness. He steals food from garbage heaps and vendor stalls, his Jedi pride long since abandoned in favor of survival. He finds water in condensation pipes and broken fountains. He sleeps in maintenance shafts and abandoned buildings, never staying in one place for more than a few hours. The clone patrols are relentless. They sweep through the underworld in squads, checking identification, questioning anyone who looks suspicious. Windu learns to sense them coming, to feel the distinctive presence of their minds through the Force. The clones are different now, their thoughts colored by the inhibitor chips that turned them against their Jedi commanders. Where once there was loyalty and camaraderie, now there's only cold obedience. He has close calls. Once, a patrol rounds a corner, just as he's scavenging from a garbage heap. He freezes, mind racing, but the clones walk right past him without a second glance. He realizes later that he unconsciously used the Force to make himself unnoticeable, a trick he didn't know he could do. Desperation, it seems, is a powerful teacher. Another time, he's sleeping in an abandoned warehouse when bounty hunters break in, searching for any Jedi who might be hiding there. He wakes to the sound of their voices, their footsteps echoing off the metal walls. There's no time to run, no place to hide. He presses himself into a corner and holds his breath, reaching into the Force to mask his presence. The hunters search for nearly an hour. They come within feet of his hiding spot, their flashlights sweeping the darkness, but they don't find him. When they finally leave, cursing their bad luck, Windu allows himself to breathe again. He can't keep relying on luck. He needs to get off Coruscant before his luck runs out. His injuries slowly begin to heal, accelerated by his connection to the Force, but still taking far longer than they should. The lightning damage is the worst of it, the dark side energy having seared channels through his nervous system that refuse to fully recover. Some days, his remaining hand shakes so badly he can barely grip anything. Other days, the phantom pain from his missing hand is so intense he can't think straight. The phantom sensations are the strangest part. He can still feel his missing hand, can still sense the fingers that are no longer there. Sometimes he wakes in the night reaching for something, only to remember that the hand he's trying to use doesn't exist anymore. It's a constant reminder of what he lost, of the moment when Anakin's blade severed more than just flesh. But he adapts. He always adapts. He constructs a crude prosthetic from parts scavenged in a junkyard, a simple mechanical hand that responds to the faintest impulses from his remaining nerves. It's clumsy and obvious, nothing like the sophisticated cybernetics the Republic once provided, but it functions. It allows him to grip, to climb, to fight if necessary. The construction takes weeks, working in stolen moments with salvaged tools. He has to teach himself basic cybernetics, learning from datapads he finds discarded in the junk heaps. The first few versions don't work at all. The next few work briefly before failing. But eventually, through trial and error and sheer stubborn determination, he creates something functional. And it serves as a constant reminder of his failure. During his time in hiding, Windu watches the Empire consolidate its power. The HoloNet broadcasts are filled with propaganda, painting the Jedi as traitors who attempted to assassinate the beloved Chancellor. Palpatine, now styling himself emperor, addresses the galaxy with false humility and promises of peace. "The war is over," he declares. "The separatist threat has been eliminated. A new era of order and prosperity is beginning." The lies are so brazen that Windu can barely believe people accept them. But they do. The galaxy is tired of war, tired of uncertainty. They want to believe that the new regime will bring stability, even if that stability comes at the cost of freedom. They want to believe that the Jedi were the villains, because the alternative is too frightening to contemplate. Windu watches these broadcasts with cold fury burning in his chest. He knows the truth. He was there when Palpatine revealed himself, when those yellow eyes gleamed with Sith malevolence. He saw the Chancellor's true face, the monster beneath the mask of benevolent leadership. And he knows that monster now rules the galaxy unopposed. He gathers what information he can about the state of the galaxy. The separatist forces are collapsing, their leadership decapitated by the very Sith Lord who created them in the first place. The clone armies are being reorganized into Imperial stormtroopers, their loyalty to the new regime absolute. And across the galaxy, the surviving Jedi are being hunted down one by one. Rumors begin to circulate about a new figure in the Emperor's service. A dark warrior clad in black armor, more machine than man, who hunts the surviving Jedi with relentless efficiency. They call him Darth Vader, and the stories of his brutality grow with each passing week. He has killed Master Kirak Infila on the River Moon. He has slaughtered the hidden enclave on Kessel. He has tracked Jedi to the farthest corners of the galaxy and left nothing but corpses in his wake. The descriptions vary, but certain details are consistent. The black armor, the mechanical breathing, the blood-red lightsaber, and the sheer, overwhelming power of his presence in the Force. Windu knows who hides behind that black mask. He can feel it in the Force, that familiar presence now twisted and corrupted beyond recognition. Anakin Skywalker has become the Emperor's attack dog, and he is very good at his new role. The knowledge fills Windu with a complicated mixture of emotions. Anger, certainly, at the boy who betrayed them all. Grief for the potential that was lost, the hero Anakin could have been. And beneath it all, a gnawing guilt that he cannot quite shake. He never trusted Anakin. From the moment Qui-Gon brought that slave boy before the Council, Windu sensed the danger in him. He felt the fear, the attachment, the barely contained emotions that the Jedi Code was meant to prevent. He argued against training the boy, and when he was overruled, he never let Anakin forget his opposition. He remembers the council meetings, the endless debates about Anakin's suitability for training, Qui-Gon's passionate advocacy, the other master's skepticism, and his own implacable opposition. "The boy is dangerous," he said. "Too old, too attached, too emotional. Training him would be a mistake." But Qui-Gon died, and Obi-Wan made a promise, and the council reluctantly agreed to let the training proceed. Windu went along with the decision, but he never accepted it. He watched Anakin's progress with suspicious eyes, always looking for signs that his fears were justified. And he found them. The arrogance, the impatience, the emotional volatility. All the qualities that made Anakin such a powerful Jedi also made him dangerous. Windu saw the darkness growing in him, the anger and fear that the code was meant to eliminate. Perhaps if he had been kinder. Perhaps if he had offered guidance instead of suspicion. Perhaps if he had treated Anakin like a promising young Jedi, instead of a threat to be monitored. Perhaps things would have been different. But Windu is not a man given to dwelling on perhaps. What's done is done. Anakin made his choice, and now the galaxy burns because of it. The only question that matters now is what Windu intends to do about it. After 6 weeks in Coruscant's underworld, he finally manages to escape the planet. A smuggler named Rax Jorin owes the Jedi Order a debt, one incurred years ago when Master Luminara saved his daughter from slavers. Windu calls in that debt, and Rax doesn't ask questions. He provides passage off-world in a hidden compartment of his freighter, no questions asked. The journey to find Rax is dangerous. Windu has to navigate through Imperial checkpoints, avoiding patrols and keeping his head down. He travels at night, using the Force to guide him through the maze of tunnels and platforms that make up the underworld. By the time he reaches the smuggler's hideout, he's exhausted, running on nothing but determination and spite. Rax is a grizzled old man with scarred hands and suspicious eyes. He doesn't recognize Windu at first, not in his current state. But when Windu mentions Luminara's name, something shifts in his expression. "You're a Jedi," he says. "It's not a question. I was. Once. Before the Empire decided we were enemies of the state." Rax is silent for a long moment. Then he nods. "I owe the Jedi my daughter's life. I suppose I owe you at least one ride." Windu pays him with credits stolen from a dead Imperial officer, one of several he's encountered in the underworld. The man was corrupt, taking bribes to look the other way, while spice dealers operated in his district. Windu felt no guilt in ending him, nor in taking everything of value from his corpse. It's a small thing, perhaps, but it marks a change in him. The old Mace Windu would never have killed, except in direct combat or clear defense of the innocent. This new version, forged in the fires of loss and betrayal, operates by different rules. The smuggler takes him to the Outer Rim, to a harsh world called Varath Prime, that sits at the edge of known space. It's a planet of rocky canyons and perpetual electrical storms, colonized centuries ago by miners seeking rare minerals. The mines played out generations back, but the people remained, eking out a harsh existence in settlements that cling to the canyon walls. The journey takes several days, spent mostly in the cramped hidden compartment of Rax's freighter. Windu uses the time to rest, to heal, to think. He meditates for hours at a stretch, reaching into the Force despite the pain it causes him. The Force feels different now. The bright network of light that once connected all the Jedi has been shattered, its strands severed by betrayal and murder. Where once Windu could sense his brothers and sisters across the galaxy, now there's only silence. Occasional flickers of life, survivors hiding in the shadows, but nothing like the vibrant community that existed before. The silence is deafening. It reminds him, with every breath, of what was lost. More importantly, it's far from the Empire's reach. The new regime has its hands full consolidating control of the core worlds and fighting the last remnants of separatist resistance. A backwater planet in the Outer Rim barely registers on their radar. Windu finds a cave system in one of the more remote canyons, far from the nearest settlement. He makes it his home, using the Force to seal the entrance against casual discovery. Here, in this dark and lonely place, he begins to plan. For 3 years, Mace Windu lives as a hermit. He meditates, but not on peace and serenity as the Jedi taught. He meditates on purpose, on revenge, on the failures of the Order and how they might have been prevented. He reviews everything he knows about Anakin Skywalker, turning each memory over in his mind like a puzzle piece. The boy's exceptional power in the Force, greater than any Jedi Windu had ever encountered. His aggressive fighting style, all power and passion and overwhelming offense. His emotional volatility, the attachments he formed despite the Jedi prohibitions. his arrogance, his need for recognition, his desperate fear of loss. Windu begins to see a pattern, a weakness that could be exploited. Anakin, now Vader, is driven by emotion. His power in the dark side feeds on his anger, his hatred, his pain. But that same emotion makes him predictable. When he's calm, he's nearly unbeatable. His raw talent combined with years of training, creating a warrior without peer. But when he's angry, truly angry, he makes mistakes. Windu remembers their few sparring sessions, back when Anakin was still a Padawan. The boy was always too aggressive, too eager to attack. He left openings in his defense that a more experienced opponent could exploit. Obi-Wan tried to teach him patience, but the lesson never quite took. Has Vader learned that lesson now? Or does the dark side encourage his worst impulses, feeding his aggression at the cost of his discipline? The more Windu considers it, the more he believes that Vader's greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. If someone could provoke him, push him to the edge of his control, they might find the openings needed to defeat him. But who could do such a thing? Windu himself is too old, too damaged. His connection to the Force has never fully recovered from Sidious's lightning, and his body bears too many scars. He might be able to challenge Vader in his current state, but he couldn't win. Not anymore. He needs someone else. Someone younger, stronger, with the potential to surpass even the Chosen One. Someone who could be trained specifically to exploit Vader's weaknesses. Someone who could be forged into a weapon. The idea takes root in Windu's mind and grows over the following months. He begins to design a training program unlike anything the Jedi Order ever conceived. Not a path to enlightenment or spiritual growth, but a systematic method for creating the perfect Vader killer. He would teach his student Form 5, Jem So, the aggressive style that Anakin mastered. They would learn to fight like Vader, to think like Vader, to predict his every move. And then they would learn Vapad, Windu's own creation, the form that channels darkness without succumbing to it. But physical training alone wouldn't be enough. The student would also need to understand Vader's psychology, his fears, his regrets, his hidden wounds. They would learn to use words as weapons, to strike at the broken man beneath the armor. It would require someone special. Not just any Force-sensitive child would do. They would need power, certainly, but also something else. A personal connection to the Empire's cruelty. A reason to hate Vader that went beyond abstract justice. Revenge, Windu has learned, is a powerful motivator. He begins to search, reaching out with the Force, to sense the potential hidden in the galaxy. For 2 years, he finds nothing worthy of his attention. There are Force sensitives out there, certainly, but none with the combination of power and motivation he requires. Then, one evening, he feels something. It comes from the nearest settlement, a mining town called Deepwell that sits at the bottom of the largest canyon on Varath Prime. A spark of Force potential, raw and untrained, but burning with surprising intensity. And beneath that spark, something else. Pain, grief, and a cold, hard kernel of hatred. Windu investigates. The settlement is a grim place, all grey metal and recycled air. The people who live here are miners and their families, workers who harvest what little remains of Varath Prime's mineral wealth. They're hardy folk, accustomed to hardship, but they've known more than their share of suffering lately. The Empire came to Deepwell 2 years ago. A star destroyer appeared in orbit without warning, its massive shadow falling over the settlement like a harbinger of doom. The people looked up and felt their blood run cold. Nothing good ever came from the core worlds. Nothing good ever came from ships that size. The stormtroopers came next, disgorging from shuttles that landed in the town square. Hundreds of them, their white armor gleaming in the harsh light of Varath Prime's sun. They swept through the settlement with brutal efficiency, kicking in doors, dragging people from their homes, demanding answers to questions that made no sense. They were looking for rebel sympathizers. They found none, because there were none to find. Deepwell's people wanted nothing to do with galactic politics. They just wanted to mine their rocks and be left alone. But the Empire didn't care about truth. The Empire cared about fear. Someone had been transmitting anti-imperial messages from somewhere in the sector, and the regional governor decided that a demonstration of consequences was in order. It didn't matter that Deepwell was innocent. What mattered was that other settlements would see what happened to suspected rebels and think twice before causing trouble. Kira Voss was 10 years old when the stormtroopers came for her parents. She remembers everything about that day with perfect, terrible clarity. The sound of boots on metal walkways, the screaming of her neighbors as they were dragged from their homes, the smell of blaster fire and burning buildings, and her father's voice, urgent and afraid, telling her to hide. Hide, Kira. Don't come out no matter what you hear. Promise me. She promised. She crawled into a ventilation shaft in the back of their home, a space barely big enough for her small body. She pressed herself against the cold metal and listened. She heard the stormtroopers break down the door. She heard her mother's scream. She heard her father's voice, pleading, bargaining, offering anything if they would just leave his family alone. She heard the blaster fire. 47 people died that day. The stormtroopers herded the survivors into the town square and made them watch as the bodies were loaded onto a transport. "This is what happens to traitors," the commander announced. "Remember this day. Remember what rebellion costs." Then they left, their lesson delivered, moving on to terrorize the next innocent community. Kira stayed in the ventilation shaft for 3 days. She was afraid to come out, afraid the stormtroopers would come back, afraid of what she would find if she did. She survived on condensation from the pipes and sheer stubborn refusal to die. When she finally emerged, her home was empty. Her parents' belongings had been looted or destroyed. The town square still bore scorch marks from the executions, and the transport carrying the bodies had been shot down trying to flee, crashing into the canyon wall in a ball of fire. There was nothing left to bury. The survivors of Deepwell took Kira in, such as they could. They gave her scraps from their tables, a corner to sleep in, odd jobs to earn her keep. It wasn't kindness exactly. It was more like obligation, the reluctant charity of people who had lost too much themselves to have anything left to give. Kira learned to survive. She learned to steal when she had to fight when she had to hide her true feelings behind a mask of indifference. She learned that the galaxy was cruel and arbitrary, that power was the only thing that mattered, that justice was a fairy tale for children who hadn't watched their parents die. She learned to hate. The hatred lived inside her like a second heartbeat, constant and consuming. She hated the Empire. She hated the stormtroopers. She hated the regional governor who ordered the attack and the emperor who made it possible. She hated everyone and everything connected to the evil that had destroyed her family. But hatred without power is just noise. Kira knew she was weak, knew she was nothing, knew she would die forgotten and unmourned like everyone else who crossed the Empire. The knowledge ate at her, adding fuel to the fire that burned in her chest. She was 12 years old when Mace Windu found her. Among the dead were Tam and Lyra Voss, a mining engineer and a schoolteacher. They left behind a daughter, 10 years old at the time, who hid in a ventilation shaft while her parents were executed in the town square. Her name is Kira Voss, and she is the source of the presence Windu felt. He finds her sitting alone at the edge of the settlement, staring out at the canyon where the transport carrying her parents' bodies was shot down when they tried to flee. She's 12 now, small for her age, but with eyes that hold far more than a child's share of sorrow. Her dark hair is cut short, practical, and her clothes are patched and worn. She doesn't flinch when Windu approaches from the shadows. Most people would be startled, even frightened, by a strange man appearing without warning. Kira just looks at him with those two old eyes and waits. "What do you want?" she asks. Her voice is flat, empty of emotion. Windu studies her for a long moment. In the Force, she burns like a beacon, her potential immense despite being completely untrained. He can feel her pain, her anger, her hatred simmering just beneath the surface. She has spent 2 years learning to hide her emotions, to present a blank face to a world that has done nothing but hurt her. But the emotions are still there, still waiting. More than that, he senses something familiar in her, a quality he recognized in another child long ago, a raw, untamed power that could reshape the galaxy if properly directed. Anakin Skywalker had that same fire, that same potential. And the Jedi Order failed him, failed to channel his power into something constructive. Windu will not make the same mistake twice. "I want to offer you a choice," Windu replies. She laughs, a bitter sound far too cynical for her years. "People don't offer me choices. They offer me work in the mines, or scraps from their tables, or a place to sleep if I'm useful enough. What could you possibly have that I'd want?" Windu sits beside her, uninvited. He looks out at the canyon, at the distant scar in the rock face where the transport crashed. The setting sun paints the rocks in shades of red and orange, colors that remind him uncomfortably of fire. "I know who killed your parents," he says. Kira goes very still. The mask slips just for a moment, and he sees the raw grief beneath. "The Imperials," she whispers. "Everyone knows that." "Yes. But do you know who sent them? Who gave the order that led to their deaths? Who created the system that makes such atrocities possible?" She looks at him now, really looks at him, and he sees the first spark of interest in her eyes. "Tell me." His name is Palpatine. He calls himself the Emperor now, but once he was just a politician, hiding his true nature behind a mask of kindness. He is a Sith Lord, a master of the dark side of the Force, and he has spent decades manipulating the galaxy toward this moment. The Clone Wars, the fall of the Republic, the destruction of the Jedi Order, all of it was his design. Kira listens in silence. She's heard of the Emperor, of course. Everyone has. But the name means nothing to her, just another distant authority figure who has no impact on her daily struggle to survive. "And he has an apprentice," Windu continues, "a monster in black armor who was once a Jedi Knight. His name is Darth Vader, and he is responsible for more death and suffering than you can possibly imagine. He hunts the survivors of my order, the Jedi, and murders them wherever he finds them. He enforces the Emperor's will with blood and terror. Every atrocity the Empire commits, every innocent life destroyed, Vader makes it possible." "Your order," Kira repeats. "You're a Jedi." "I was. Once. Before the Empire decided we were enemies of the state. Before Vader killed everyone I ever cared about." Something flickers in Kira's eyes. Recognition, perhaps, of a kindred spirit. Someone else who has lost everything to the Empire's cruelty. Someone else who carries the weight of grief and rage and the burning need for vengeance. Why are you telling me this? Windu turns to face her fully. His scarred features are harsh in the fading light, but his eyes hold something unexpected. Not kindness exactly, but understanding. He knows her pain because he shares it. Because you have power, he says. I can feel it in you, like a fire waiting to be kindled. The Force flows through you with a strength I've rarely encountered. With training, you could be stronger than any Jedi who ever lived. Strong enough to make the people who hurt you pay for what they did. She stares at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. And what would I have to do? Learn, train, dedicate yourself to a single purpose. I won't lie to you, child. What I'm offering isn't kindness, it isn't comfort. It's hard work and pain and sacrifice, all in service of one goal. I will push you until you break, and then I will put you back together stronger than before. I will tear away everything soft and weak inside you, until only the warrior remains. What goal? Windu's eyes harden. The destruction of Darth Vader. The silence stretches between them. In the distance, thunder rumbles as one of Vareth Prime's perpetual storms approaches. Lightning flickers on the horizon, illuminating Kira's face in brief, stark flashes. You want me to kill someone, she says finally. Not a question. I want you to become someone capable of killing the most dangerous man in the galaxy. It won't be quick. It won't be easy. The training will take years. You will suffer. You will bleed. There will be moments when you hate me for what I put you through. But if you have the strength, if you have the will, I can teach you to do what I cannot do alone. And if I say no, then I walk away and you never see me again. You go back to your life, such as it is, and the Empire continues to grind the galaxy beneath its boot. Eventually, they'll come back to Deepwell. They always come back. And when they do, you'll die like everyone else, having accomplished nothing, having changed nothing. Just another forgotten victim in an endless parade of forgotten victims. Kira's hands clench into fists. He's manipulating her, she knows, using her pain against her. A wiser person would walk away, would refuse to be used as a weapon by a stranger with suspicious motives. But Kira Voss stopped being wise when she watched her parents die. Wisdom is a luxury for people who have something to protect. She has nothing. Nothing except rage and grief, and a burning need to make someone pay. When do we start? Windu allows himself the smallest hint of a smile. It's the first time his face has worn that expression in years, and it feels strange on his scarred features. Now, he leads her away from the settlement that night, out into the wilderness where his cave waits. She doesn't look back. There's nothing left for her in Deepwell anyway. Whatever comes next, whatever pain and hardship await her, it's better than slowly dying in a place that was never home. The journey takes several hours, through rocky terrain that would challenge an experienced climber. Kira stumbles more than once, her body unused to such exertion, but she doesn't complain, doesn't ask for rest. She simply picks herself up and keeps moving. Windu watches her out of the corner of his eye, noting her determination. Good. She'll need that determination in the years ahead. What he has planned for her will break anyone without it. The cave is dark and cold, barely more comfortable than the ventilation shaft Kira hid in on the worst day of her life. But it's safe, hidden from casual discovery, far from anyone who might report a suspicious pair to the Imperial authorities. Get some sleep, Windu tells her. Tomorrow, your real life begins. The training begins before dawn the next morning. Kira wakes to find Windu standing over her, his face unreadable in the dim light filtering into the cave. "Rise," he commands. "Your instruction begins now." She's exhausted, having barely slept after the upheaval of the previous night. Her muscles ache from the long walk to the cave. She wants nothing more than to close her eyes and drift back into unconsciousness. But something in Windu's voice brooks no argument. She rises. The first thing he teaches her is not combat or force techniques, it's endurance. He pushes her through a series of physical exercises that leave her gasping, muscles burning, sweat pouring down her face. When she falters, he doesn't offer encouragement or sympathy. He simply waits, watching her with those cold eyes, until she forces herself to continue. This continues for hours, running through the canyons, climbing the rocky walls, holding positions until her limbs shake and her vision blurs. By the time the sun sets, Kira can barely stand. "Tomorrow, we do it again," Windu tells her. "And the day after that, until your body can withstand anything I throw at it." Kira wants to argue, to demand why this is necessary, but she doesn't have the energy. She collapses onto her sleeping mat and is unconscious within seconds. The pattern holds for weeks. Physical conditioning from dawn until midday, with no breaks and no mercy. Then, in the afternoon, Windu begins to introduce her to the Force. The Force, he explains, is an energy field generated by all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together. Some beings are more attuned to it than others, able to sense its presence and manipulate its power. You are one of those beings. He teaches her to feel the Force, to sense its flow through and around her. It comes surprisingly easily, her raw potential responding to even the most basic instruction. Within days, she can feel the life energy of creatures in the canyon, the distant presence of people in Deepwell, the subtle currents that swirl through the rocks and air. "Good," Windu says, and it's the closest thing to praise he ever offers. "You have talent, but talent is nothing without discipline." The meditation exercises begin. Hours spent in perfect stillness, learning to quiet her mind and focus her awareness. This is harder than the physical training in some ways, her thoughts constantly drifting to memories she'd rather forget. Her parents' faces, the sound of blaster fire, the smell of burning. Windu doesn't allow her to push these memories away. "Feel them," he instructs. "Accept them. Let them flow through you like water." The Jedi taught us to suppress our emotions, to deny their existence. This was their great mistake. "What do you mean?" He sits across from her, his prosthetic hand resting on his knee. "Emotions are power, Kira. The Sith understand this, even if they use that understanding in twisted ways. Anger, fear, grief, these are not weaknesses to be eliminated. They are strengths to be harnessed. The trick is to master them rather than letting them master you. Is that what you do?" Something flickers in Windu's eyes, something that might be pain or might be something darker. "I try. I don't always succeed." It's the most vulnerable thing he's ever said to her, and she files it away for later consideration. As the weeks become months, Kira's training intensifies. Windu introduces her to lightsaber combat, providing her with a training saber he constructed from salvaged parts. It doesn't have a true kyber crystal, just a low-power emitter that can sting but not maim. Still, it's enough to learn the basics. But Windu doesn't start with the basics. He starts with Form V, Gem So. "This is the form your enemy uses," he explains. Vader was trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi, who favored Soresu, the defensive form. But Vader always preferred Gem So, It emphasizes strength and aggression, meeting attacks with immediate counterstrikes. It seeks to dominate opponents through sheer power. He demonstrates the basic positions, his movements fluid despite his injuries. Kira watches intently, memorizing every detail. You will learn this form first, Windu continues. You will understand it so completely that you can predict what a Gem-So practitioner will do before they do it. You will fight in Vader's shadow until his style holds no secrets from you. The drilling begins. Hours of practice, day after day, week after week. Windu is relentless, correcting the smallest errors, forcing her to repeat movements until they become as natural as breathing. Her arms ache, her shoulders burn, and she develops calluses on her hands that never fully heal. The first year is the hardest. Kira's body is still developing, still adjusting to the brutal demands Windu places on it. She wakes before dawn every day to run through the canyons, building her endurance while the electrical storms rage overhead. Then comes breakfast, a meager meal of preserved rations and whatever they can forage from the sparse vegetation. After that, the real training begins. Windu starts with the basic stances of Gem-So, drilling them into her muscle memory through endless repetition. High guard, low guard, neutral position. The transitions between them, smooth and fluid. The footwork that provides the foundation for everything else. Again, he says, for what feels like the 1,000th time. Your back foot is too far forward. You'll lose your balance when you strike. Kira adjusts and repeats the movement. Her muscles scream in protest, but she ignores them. She's learned that Windu has no sympathy for physical complaints. The weeks blur together. Stance work gives way to basic strikes, which give way to combinations. Kira learns the signature attacks of Gem, so the powerful overhead slashes and aggressive counters that define the form. She practices them until her arms feel like they're going to fall off, and then she practices them some more. Windu is a harsh teacher. He doesn't offer encouragement or praise, only criticism. Every mistake is pointed out, analyzed, and corrected. Every success is met with demands for more. Nothing is ever good enough. At first, Kira resents this treatment. She came to him looking for guidance, for help, and instead she gets endless demands and cold disapproval. Some nights, she lies awake wondering if she made the wrong choice, if she should have stayed in Deepwell and tried to build a normal life. But gradually, she begins to understand. Windu isn't being cruel for the sake of cruelty. He's preparing her for something that will require absolute perfection. Against Vader, a single mistake could mean death. Better to make those mistakes now, in training, where the only consequences are bruises and wounded pride. So she pushes harder. She wakes earlier, trains longer, pushes through pain that would have stopped her a few months ago. Her body adapts, becoming leaner and stronger. Her reflexes sharpen. Her connection to the Force deepens. By the end of the first year, she can execute the basic forms of Gem-So with reasonable competence. Not mastery, not yet, but enough to build on. The second year introduces sparring. Windu constructs a training droid from salvaged parts, programming it with the movements of Gem-So practitioners. Kira faces it day after day, learning to read its attacks and respond appropriately. The droid is relentless. It doesn't get tired, doesn't make mistakes out of fatigue, doesn't hesitate. Every attack comes at full speed, and the training saber in its grip leaves painful welts when it connects. Kira learns to fear those welts, and that fear drives her to improve. Block, counter, advance. The rhythm becomes second nature. She stops thinking about each individual movement and starts flowing from one to the next. her body responding to threats before her conscious mind even registers them. This is what Windu wanted, she realizes. Not just technical proficiency, but instinct. But the droid has limitations. It can only mimic the movements it's been programmed with, and Windu's programming is based on his memories of Anakin Skywalker's fighting style. The real Vader has undoubtedly evolved since then, developing new techniques and refining his approach. The droid is a useful tool, but it's not a substitute for human opponents. So Windu begins sparring with her directly. These sessions are humbling. Despite his injuries, despite his age, Windu is still one of the greatest lightsaber duelists who ever lived. He moves with an economy of motion that makes Qi'ra's attacks look clumsy by comparison, deflecting her strikes with seemingly casual ease. But he doesn't just defeat her. He teaches as he fights, pointing out openings she creates, demonstrating how a skilled opponent would exploit them. He shows her the patterns that Gemso practitioners fall into, the predictable sequences that become weaknesses against opponents who know what to look for. "You're too aggressive," he tells her, after one particularly one-sided session. "You're so focused on attacking that you forget to defend. Vader won't give you time to recover from a mistake." "I'm trying to fight like he does," Qi'ra protests. "You said I needed to understand his style." Understanding his style doesn't mean imitating his flaws. Learn from his strengths, but don't adopt his weaknesses. Your job is to beat him, not to become him. The lesson sticks. Qi'ra begins to develop her own approach to Gem, so one that incorporates the aggressive power of the form while maintaining a defensive awareness that pure practitioners often lack. She learns to attack without overcommitting, to press the offensive without leaving herself vulnerable. By the end of the second year, she can hold her own against Windu for several minutes before he inevitably finds an opening. It's not victory, not yet, but it's progress. The third year brings a new challenge. Windu introduces her to the other lightsaber forms, not to master them, but to understand them. She learns the defensive shell of Soresu, the acrobatic movements of Ataru, the precision of Makashi. Each form has its strengths and weaknesses, and knowing them makes her a more complete fighter. More importantly, she learns how each form interacts with Gemso. Soresu practitioners try to outlast aggressive opponents, waiting for them to tire before counterattacking. Ataru users rely on speed and mobility to avoid power attacks. Makashi duelists seek to redirect force rather than meet it directly. Vader will have faced all these styles, Windu explains. He'll know their weaknesses and how to exploit them. You need to be able to shift between approaches, keeping him off balance. They practice scenario after scenario. Windu attacks in different styles, and Qi'ra learns to recognize them and respond appropriately. It's exhausting, requiring not just physical skill, but mental flexibility. She has to think several moves ahead, anticipating what Windu will do and planning her response. Some days, she feels like she's finally getting it. Other days, she feels like she's back at the beginning, fumbling through basic movements while Windu watches with disappointment. Progress isn't linear, he tells her, after one particularly frustrating session. You'll have good days and bad days. What matters is the overall trajectory. It's the closest he's ever come to offering comfort, and Qi'ra treasures it more than she'd care to admit. But she improves. Slowly, steadily, she begins to master the aggressive power of Gemso. By the end of the third year, she can defeat the training droid more often than not, and her sparring sessions with Windu last longer before she loses. Yet even as she learns the form, Windu teaches her its weaknesses. Gemso relies on overwhelming offense, he explains. Its practitioners want to crush opposition through strength alone. But this leaves them vulnerable to misdirection, to opponents who refuse to meet force with force. He shows her how a gemso attack can be deflected rather than blocked, using the attacker's momentum against them. He demonstrates how to create openings by appearing to give ground, drawing the opponent into overextension. He teaches her to see the patterns in the form, the predictable sequences that even master practitioners fall into. Vader is powerful, Windu says, more powerful than you will likely ever be. But power is not everything. Speed, technique, and strategy can overcome raw strength if properly applied. The months stretch into years. Kira grows from a grief-stricken child into a young woman of startling capability. Her body hardens, muscles developing beneath skin that bears the scars of countless training injuries. Her connection to the Force deepens, allowing her to sense danger before it arrives and react with supernatural speed. And her understanding of combat becomes something extraordinary. But the training isn't just about physical skills. Windu dedicates significant time to expanding her understanding of the Force itself, teaching her techniques and philosophies that go far beyond what any Padawan would learn in the old temple. The Force, he explains during one of their meditation sessions, is not simply a tool to be used. It's a living presence that connects all things. The Jedi saw it as a source of enlightenment, a path to peace and harmony. The Sith see it as a source of power, a means to dominate and control. Both perspectives contain truth, but both are also incomplete. What's the complete truth then? Windu is quiet for a long moment, his eyes closed as he reaches into the Force. The Force simply is. It doesn't care about light or dark, good or evil. Those are categories we impose on it based on our own values and desires. The light side feels peaceful because we associate peace with goodness. The dark side feels powerful because we associate power with danger. But the Force itself transcends these distinctions. So the Jedi and Sith are both wrong. Not wrong, limited. The Jedi's mistake was believing that peace was the only proper state of being, that any other emotion was a corruption to be purged. The Sith's mistake was believing that power was all that mattered, that consequences were irrelevant as long as victory was achieved. A true master of the Force would recognize that both peace and passion have their place, that the key is knowing when to embrace each. Is that what you're teaching me? I'm teaching you to think for yourself, to understand the Force as it truly is, not as any organization wants you to see it. When you face Vader, you'll need that understanding. He'll try to seduce you to the dark side, to convince you that power is all that matters. Or he'll try to make you doubt yourself, to exploit the Jedi teachings you've absorbed. Either way, you need to be beyond such manipulation. The lessons continue. Windu teaches her advanced Force techniques that blur the line between light and dark. She learns to draw on her emotions without losing herself in them, to channel anger and fear into focused action rather than blind rage. He teaches her Force telekinesis at a level far beyond basic object manipulation. She practices lifting stones, then boulders, then entire sections of rock face. She learns to create barriers of pure Force energy, invisible walls that can deflect blaster bolts or slow lightsaber strikes. She practices throwing objects with lethal precision, turning anything in her environment into a potential weapon. Your lightsaber is your primary tool, Windu says, but it shouldn't be your only one. Vader will expect you to fight like a traditional duelist. Surprise him with abilities he doesn't anticipate. She learns Force-enhanced speed and agility, pushing her body beyond its natural limits. She can cross a room in the blink of an eye, leap distances that should be impossible, react to threats faster than conscious thought allows. These abilities drain her quickly at first, but with practice, she learns to sustain them for longer periods. The physical enhancement training is grueling in a different way than lightsaber practice. It requires her to maintain a constant connection to the Force, channeling its energy through her muscles and nerves without interruption. A moment's lapse, and she crashes back to normal human limitations, often at the worst possible moment. Again, Windu commands after she stumbles during a high-speed exercise. "You lost focus. Why?" "I was thinking about the next obstacle," Kira admits, planning my approach. "Don't plan, react. Your conscious mind is too slow for this kind of combat. You need to let the Force guide your movements directly, bypassing thought entirely." It's the same lesson he teaches about Vapad, she realizes. Surrender of control. Trust in something beyond conscious planning. She practices until the Force-enhanced movements become as natural as breathing, until she can maintain them for extended periods without conscious effort. It takes months of daily practice, countless failures, and more than a few injuries from misjudging distances or timing. But eventually, she masters it. There are other lessons as well. Windu teaches her about Force sense, the ability to perceive the world through the Force itself. She learns to feel the presence of other beings, to sense their emotions and intentions without seeing them. She learns to detect danger before it manifests, to feel the ripples in the Force that precede violent action. This ability is crucial for facing Vader, Windu explains. He's a master of deception, both physical and mental. He'll try to mislead you, to make you think he's attacking one way when he's really attacking another. Your eyes can be fooled. The Force cannot. She practices with blindfolds, learning to navigate and fight using only her Force sense. At first, it's disorienting, the world reduced to vague impressions and feelings. But with time, she begins to perceive things that her eyes would have missed. The subtle shift in a person's balance before they move, the flicker of intent before an attack is launched, the hidden presence of someone lurking just out of sight. Beyond combat techniques, Windu teaches her about the nature of the Sith themselves. He shares what he knows of their history, their philosophy, their methods. The Sith have existed for thousands of years, he explains. They rose and fell again, each iteration learning from the mistakes of the last. The current Sith Order, the one Palpatine and Vader belong to, follows the rule of two. Only two Sith may exist at any time, a master and an apprentice, one to embody power and one to crave it. Why only two? Because the Sith are their own worst enemies. Their philosophy of self-interest and power at any cost means they inevitably turn on each other. The ancient Sith empires fell not to the Jedi, but to internal conflict, Sith lords destroying each other in endless power struggles. The rule of two was designed to prevent that, focusing all the Sith's energy on a single purpose rather than constant infighting. Does it work? For a time. But even with only two Sith, the power struggle remains. The apprentice always seeks to overthrow the master. The master always guards against the apprentice's ambition. It's a system built on mutual suspicion and eventual betrayal. Kira considers this. So Vader will eventually try to overthrow Palpatine. Almost certainly. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's already planning for it. But Palpatine knows this too, which is why he keeps Vader dependent on him. The suit, the medical procedures, even Vader's position in the Imperial hierarchy, all of it is designed to ensure that Vader cannot survive without Palpatine's support. She files this information away for later consideration. Understanding the dynamics between Palpatine and Vader might prove useful. The years also bring changes to Qi'ra herself, changes that go beyond physical capability. She begins to understand who she's becoming, the woman that Windu's training is shaping. She is not a Jedi. The old order's emphasis on emotional suppression, on detachment from the world, feels wrong to her. She feels things deeply, has always felt things deeply, and she's learned to use those feelings rather than fight them. But she's not a Sith either. The Sith philosophy of pure self-interest, of power as the only value, strikes her as hollow and ultimately self-defeating. Power without purpose is meaningless. What is she then? Something new, she decides. Something that takes the best of both traditions while rejecting their flaws. She embraces her emotions but maintains control. She pursues power but recognizes that power is a means, not an end. She walks the line between light and dark, belonging fully to neither. Windu notices the change in her. "You're finding your own path," he observes one evening. "Good. That's exactly what I hoped for. Is this what you intended all along?" "I intended to create someone capable of defeating Vader. What you became along the way was always going to be up to you." By her 15th birthday, she can defeat Windu himself in their sparring sessions, at least when he limits himself to Gem So. The student has surpassed the master in this particular form, her youth and agility combining with her training to create a warrior without peer. But Windu is far from finished with her education. "Now," he says, "I will teach you my form, the one I created, the one that walks the edge between light and darkness, Varpad." He speaks the name with something like reverence, and Qi'ra feels a chill run down her spine. She's heard him mention Varpad before, always in passing, always with that same strange weight. What makes it different? Windu is quiet for a long moment. "Varpad is more than a lightsaber form," he finally says. "It's a state of mind. When you fight with Varpad, you open yourself to your opponent's darkness, their aggression, their hatred, their desire to destroy. You channel it through yourself and back at them, amplified. The more they attack, the stronger you become." That sounds dangerous. It is. Many who attempted Varpad fell to the dark side. They opened themselves to darkness and found they could not close themselves again. The hunger consumed them. "Then why would you teach it to me?" "Because it is the only form that can defeat Vader." Windu meets her eyes with an intensity that makes her breath catch. Vader's power comes from his connection to the dark side. His anger, his pain, his hatred, these fuel his strength in the Force. A traditional Jedi approach would seek to defend against this power, to weather the storm until it passes. But Vader's storm never passes. It only grows stronger. Varpad offers a different approach. Instead of resisting Vader's darkness, you embrace it. You let it flow through you and turn it against him. His greatest weapon becomes his greatest vulnerability. Qi'ra considers this. "And you think I can learn to do this without falling to the dark side myself? I think you have a better chance than most. You carry darkness within you, Qi'ra. I've felt it since the day we met. The anger, the grief, the hatred for those who wronged you. But you've also learned to control these feelings, to use them without being used by them." He stands and ignites his lightsaber, the purple blade humming in the dim light of the cave. Varpad is not about suppressing your darkness or surrendering to it. It's about balance. Walking the knife's edge between light and shadow. If you can maintain that balance, you will become something the galaxy has never seen before. "A weapon," Qi'ra says. "Yes, but more than that, A weapon with purpose. A weapon with will. A weapon that chooses when and where to strike. The Varpad training is unlike anything Kira has experienced. It's not just physical technique, though there's plenty of that. Windu teaches her the unique movements of the form, the flowing attacks and unpredictable angles that make it so difficult to defend against. But more importantly, he teaches her to open her mind. The physical aspects come first. Varpad moves differently from Gemso, emphasizing fluidity over raw power. Where Gemso seeks to overwhelm opponents with strength, Varpad flows around them, attacking from unexpected angles and maintaining constant pressure. Watch, Windu instructs, demonstrating a basic sequence. His lightsaber becomes a blur, striking from high, low, and everywhere in between in rapid succession. The movement is almost hypnotic, impossible to predict. "How do you know where to strike next?" Kira asks. "I don't." That's the point. Varpad is about giving yourself over to the flow of combat, letting instinct guide your blade rather than conscious thought. You become a conduit, channeling energy rather than directing it. He hands her the training saber. Try. Her first attempts are clumsy, awkward. She tries to plan each strike, and that hesitation makes her movements predictable. Windu easily deflects everything she throws at him. "Stop thinking," he says. "Feel." It takes weeks before she begins to understand what he means. The breakthrough comes during a particularly intense sparring session, when Windu presses her so hard that her conscious mind simply can't keep up. In desperation, she surrenders control to something deeper, and suddenly, her blade is moving on its own, weaving patterns she never consciously chose. "Good," Windu says, and for once, there's genuine approval in his voice. That's the beginning. The weeks that follow are some of the most demanding of her training. Windu has her practice the movements until they become second nature, until she can flow from strike to strike without conscious thought. He varies the training, sometimes attacking slowly to let her find her rhythm, sometimes pressing hard to force her into the instinctive state where Varpad truly shines. She begins to understand that Varpad is as much a philosophy as a fighting form. It requires a fundamental surrender of control, a willingness to trust in something beyond conscious planning. This is difficult for her, having spent years building walls around her emotions, learning to control every aspect of her being. But control isn't the same as mastery. Windu helps her see the difference. A master doesn't need to control every muscle to walk across a room. The movements happen naturally, guided by instinct and practice. Varpad seeks to bring that same naturalness to combat. There's another aspect to the training as well. Windu teaches her to understand the history of Varpad, the philosophy behind its creation. "I developed Varpad because I recognized something about myself," he explains one evening, after a particularly grueling session. "I have always been drawn to combat, not out of bloodlust, but out of a deep appreciation for the art of it. The flow of attack and defense, the chess match of anticipating your opponent's moves. It speaks to something fundamental in my nature." She listens attentively, sensing that this is important. The Jedi taught that such inclinations were dangerous. They preached detachment from all passions, including the passion for combat. But I couldn't detach from something so central to who I was. So instead, I found a way to channel it. Varpad allows me to embrace my love of combat without being consumed by it. When I fight, I give myself over to the joy of the movement, the satisfaction of a well-executed strike. But I maintain my purpose, my awareness of why I'm fighting. The passion serves my will, not the other way around. Kira considers this. And you think I can learn to do the same with my anger? Your anger is more dangerous than my love of combat, Windu admits. Anger has a way of blinding you, of making you forget why you started fighting in the first place. But the principle is the same. Don't suppress your anger. Don't let it control you. Channel it. The training intensifies. Windu begins to introduce the emotional component more directly, teaching Kira to tap into her darker feelings without losing herself. He starts by having her meditate on her grief. She sits in the darkness of the cave and thinks about her parents, about the day they died, about the empty years that followed. The pain is still there, raw and jagged, even after all this time. Feel it, Windu instructs. Don't shy away from it. Let it fill you. She does, and the sensation is overwhelming. Tears stream down her face. Her hands clench into fists. She wants to scream, to rage against the injustice of it all. Good. Now channel that feeling into your next strike. He attacks, and she responds. Her blade moves with a speed and power she's never felt before, driven by the grief she's channeled. The strike nearly breaks through Windu's guard, forcing him to step back. That's Varpad, he says. That's what it feels like when you use your emotions as fuel. They repeat the exercise countless times, with different emotions. Anger at the Empire, hatred for the stormtroopers who killed her family, fear of failure, of letting Windu down, of dying without completing her mission. Each emotion has a different quality when channeled into combat, a different flavor of power. Anger makes her strikes more powerful but less precise. Fear heightens her awareness but can make her hesitant. Grief gives her endurance, a determination to keep fighting long after her body wants to quit. She learns to blend these emotions, to create the exact mental state she needs for any given situation. But the physical technique is only part of Varpad. The true heart of the form lies elsewhere. Feel my aggression, he instructs during their sparring sessions. Let it in. Don't fight it. She tries, and immediately feels a surge of dark energy flowing into her. It's intoxicating, filling her with power she's never felt before. Her attacks come faster, harder, driven by strength that seems to come from nowhere. The sensation is overwhelming. Windu's aggression floods into her like water through a broken dam, amplifying her own emotions until they threaten to consume her. She sees flashes of his memories, his hatred for the Empire, his guilt over his failures. And beneath it all, a darkness that mirrors her own. This is different from channeling her own emotions. This is taking power from another person, drawing on their darkness to fuel her light. It's intimate in a way she didn't expect, creating a connection that goes beyond the physical combat. She can feel Windu's regrets, the weight of decisions he wishes he could unmake. She senses his loneliness, the years spent in isolation with only his mission for company. And she feels his pride, reluctant but genuine, in what she's becoming. The connection goes both ways. Windu can feel her emotions as clearly as she feels his. He knows her anger, her grief, her determination. He knows the fear she tries to hide, the doubt that sometimes creeps in during the dark hours of the night. This vulnerability is the price of Varpad, he tells her. When you open yourself to an opponent's darkness, you open yourself entirely. They will sense your weaknesses as clearly as you sense theirs. Vader will try to exploit this. He will attack your mind as surely as he attacks your body. How do I defend against that? By knowing yourself. By confronting your weaknesses before your opponent can use them against you. If you have already faced your fears, they hold no power over you. The psychological training becomes as important as the physical. Windu pushes Kira to examine every aspect of her psyche, every hidden wound and buried fear. She confronts her terror of failure, her rage at her own helplessness when her parents died, her secret belief that she's not strong enough to complete her mission. Each confrontation is painful, but each one leaves her stronger. She begins to understand that true strength isn't the absence of weakness. It's the acknowledgement and integration of weakness, the transformation of vulnerability into power. Good, Windu says. Now control it. Don't let it control you. This is the hard part. The darkness whispers to her, promising power beyond imagining if she would only give in. It shows her visions of her parents, of their killers, of the revenge she could take if she just stopped holding back. It would be so easy to surrender, to let the hatred consume her and become something terrible and strong. But Kira remembers Windu's lessons. The darkness is a tool, not a master. She grips it with her will and forces it to serve her purposes rather than its own. The process is agonizing. Every session leaves her emotionally drained, struggling to separate her own feelings from the darkness she's channeled. Some nights she has nightmares, visions of destruction and death that feel terrifyingly real. Other nights she lies awake, afraid to sleep, afraid of what she might dream. The nightmares are particularly vivid. She sees herself standing over bodies, people she doesn't recognize, but somehow knows she killed. She sees herself turning on Windu, her blade finding his heart while his eyes widen in betrayal. She sees herself kneeling before a dark throne, swearing allegiance to a shadow that speaks with the Emperor's voice. These are warnings, Windu tells her when she confides in him. The Force is showing you what you might become if you lose your way. Don't ignore them, but don't be paralyzed by them either. They're possible futures, not inevitable ones. How do I avoid them? By making choices. Every moment, you choose who you want to be. The darkness will always try to pull you toward destruction. Your job is to keep choosing the light, even when the dark path seems easier. The training continues for months, then years. Kira learns to dance on the edge of the abyss, drawing power from darkness without falling in. She develops techniques for centering herself, for maintaining control, even when the darkness threatens to overwhelm her. One of the most effective techniques involves a form of visualization. When she feels the darkness growing too strong, she imagines herself standing at the edge of a vast canyon. The darkness is a river flowing through the canyon's depths, powerful and dangerous. She can draw water from that river, using it to nourish her strength. But she must never fall into the canyon itself. The image helps her maintain perspective. The darkness is there, always there, a constant source of power. But it's separate from her, something she can use without becoming. She is the one standing on the edge, not the one drowning in the depths. Meditation helps too. Windu teaches her a form of meditation that's different from traditional Jedi practices. Instead of seeking peace and serenity, she confronts her emotions directly. She examines her anger, her grief, her hatred, acknowledging them as part of herself without letting them define her. Your emotions are like fire, Windu explains. Fire can warm you or burn you, depending on how you use it. The Jedi tried to extinguish the fire entirely, and that left them cold and blind. The Sith surrender to the fire, and it consumes them. We walk a different path. She learns to use her emotions as fuel without letting them become an inferno. Anger sharpens her focus. Grief deepens her resolve. Even hatred has its uses, providing motivation during the darkest moments of training. But balance, is everything. There are times when she goes too far, when the darkness takes hold and she loses herself in its embrace. These episodes are terrifying, brief windows where she becomes something other than herself, something capable of terrible things. The first time it happens, she attacks Windu with genuine intent to kill. Her lightsaber moves on its own, driven by a fury that feels alien and familiar at the same time. She doesn't remember most of it afterward, just flashes of red and violence. When she comes back to herself, Windu is standing over her, his expression unreadable. She's on the ground, her training saber knocked away, his blade humming inches from her throat. "What happened?" she whispers, horrified by the fragments of memory that remain. "You lost control. The darkness took you. I could have killed you." "No." Windu deactivates his lightsaber and offers her a hand up. "You weren't ready to kill me. Not yet. But you're getting closer." She doesn't know whether to be reassured or terrified. They discuss the episode at length afterward. Windu helps her identify the warning signs that preceded the loss of control, the subtle shifts in her mental state that should have alerted her to the danger. He teaches her techniques for pulling back from the edge, ways to release the accumulated darkness before it becomes overwhelming. "It's like a pressure valve," he explains. "The darkness builds up inside you during combat. If you don't release it periodically, it will eventually overflow. You need to find moments, even in the heat of battle, to let some of that pressure escape." She practices the technique during their sparring sessions. Every few minutes, she takes a brief pause, just a heartbeat really, to center herself and release the accumulated darkness. It's difficult at first, requiring conscious effort that distracts from the combat. But eventually, it becomes as natural as breathing. Similar episodes happen several more times over the following years. Each one teaches her something new about her limits, about the warning signs that precede a loss of control. She learns to recognize when she's approaching the edge and pull back before it's too late. The second episode happens during an unusually intense training session. Windu is pushing her harder than usual, testing her limits, and she rises to the challenge. But she rises too far, drawing too deeply on the darkness, and suddenly, she's not herself anymore. This time, she's aware of what's happening even as it occurs. She watches from somewhere outside herself as her body moves with savage efficiency, attacking Windu with techniques she didn't know she knew. The darkness is in complete control, and it's magnificent, terrifying, exhilarating. Then Windu does something unexpected. Instead of defending, he opens his own connection to the darkness, letting her feel his aggression, his rage. The sensation is like drowning, too much dark energy flooding into her system at once. It's enough to snap her back to herself. She staggers, dropping her weapon, and collapses to her knees. "What was that?" she gasps. A technique for breaking the cycle. Windu's voice is calm, but she can see sweat beading on his forehead. When the darkness takes you, it feeds on resistance. Fighting it makes it stronger, but if you overwhelm it with more darkness than it can process, it loses cohesion. "You flooded me with your aggression." Yes, it's risky, but sometimes necessary. If I had fought you directly, you might have hurt yourself before I could subdue you. This way, the darkness dissipated on its own. She files the technique away for future reference. It might prove useful if she ever faces someone in the grip of dark side madness. But she also learns that the edge is where her greatest power lies. The deeper she goes into the darkness, the stronger she becomes. Vader will push her further than any training session, and she needs to be ready for that. "You're strong," Windu tells her after one such episode. "Stronger than I expected." But strength can be a curse as well as a blessing. "You must be vigilant, Kira. The moment you think you've mastered the darkness is the moment it will master you." She takes the lesson to heart. By the end of her Varpad training, Kira has become something unprecedented. She can channel darkness through herself, like water through a pipe, using it to amplify her attacks without being consumed by it. She can sense her opponent's aggression and turn it against them, growing stronger as they grow angrier. And she can walk the edge of the abyss without falling in. Most of the time, it's not perfect. No one has ever fully mastered Varpad, not even Windu himself. But it's enough to give her a chance against Vader. Maybe. Between combat training sessions, Windu educates her about Vader himself. He shares everything he remembers about Anakin Skywalker, painting a picture of the man behind the mask. "He was a slave on Tatooine," Windu explains, "found by Qui-Gon Jinn and brought to the Jedi Order at the age of 9. Far too old by our standards. Most younglings begin their training as infants before they can form attachments to family or home. Anakin came to us with a mother he loved, a planet he knew, memories and connections that the Order's teachings couldn't erase." "Why did you accept him?" Qui-Gon believed he was the chosen one, a being prophesied to bring balance to the Force. The Council was skeptical, myself most of all, but Qui-Gon was insistent, and after his death, we felt obligated to honor his final wish. Windu's expression darkens. Perhaps that was our first mistake. He tells her about Anakin's years as a Padawan under Obi-Wan Kenobi, the boy's exceptional talent, his rapid advancement, his growing arrogance. He speaks of the Clone Wars, when Anakin became a hero of the Republic, beloved by the people and the media. And he describes the attachment that formed between Anakin and Senator Padme Amidala, a love affair that violated everything the Jedi stood for. He was obsessed with her, Windu says, terrified of losing her. In the end, that fear is what Palpatine exploited. He promised Anakin the power to save Padme from death, and Anakin was willing to sacrifice everything to keep that promise. Did he save her? No. Windu's voice is cold. She died anyway. Some say Vader killed her himself, though whether by his own hand or through the dark side is unclear. Either way, the woman he destroyed the Jedi to save was dead within hours of his fall. Kira absorbs this information, turning it over in her mind. So his greatest love led to his greatest loss. Yes, and he carries that wound still. I can feel it when I sense him through the Force. A pit of grief and self-hatred that never heals, hidden beneath layers of rage. He hates himself for what he did, but he can't admit it. Instead, he projects that hatred outward onto anyone who reminds him of what he lost. She begins to understand why Windu is telling her all this. This is how you want me to defeat him. Not just with a lightsaber, but with words. The lightsaber will wound his body. The words will wound his soul. Windu nods. When you face Vader, you must be prepared to strike at both. Over the following years, Kira memorizes everything Windu tells her about Anakin and Vader. She studies holo-recordings from the Clone Wars, analyzing his fighting style and looking for patterns. She reads what little information exists about his psychology, the traumas that shaped him, the fears that drove him. And she practices, not just combat, but verbal warfare. She learns to speak in a way that will cut through Vader's defenses, targeting the wounds she knows he carries. You killed her, didn't you? She rehearses. Padme, the woman you loved. You strangled her with your own hands while your child watched. It's manipulation, cold and calculated. But Windu has taught her that war is not about fairness. It's about victory. When Kira is 18, Windu judges her ready for the next phase of her training. She has mastered both Gem-So and Varpad, can fight him to a standstill in their sparring sessions, and has developed a connection to the Force that rivals any knight in the Old Order. But mastering techniques in practice is different from applying them in genuine combat. She needs real opponents. The Inquisitors, Windu explains, they are former Jedi and Force sensitives who have been corrupted by the Empire. Vader trains them to hunt surviving Jedi. They are formidable opponents, not as powerful as Vader himself, but dangerous nonetheless. He provides her with intelligence he's gathered over the years, tracking the Inquisitors' movements through encrypted Imperial communications and contacts in the criminal underworld. The Empire's hunters have been busy, eliminating Jedi survivors across the galaxy. But they've also become overconfident, believing that no one can challenge them. Kira will prove them wrong. Her first target is the fifth brother, a hulking Inquisitor known for his brutal strength and lack of subtlety. He's operating on Ord Mantell, hunting rumors of a Jedi survivor in the industrial districts. Kira travels there alone, her ship a battered freighter that Windu purchased years ago with stolen credits. The journey takes 3 days through hyperspace, giving her plenty of time to prepare. She reviews everything Windu told her about the Inquisitors, their fighting styles, their weaknesses. She meditates, centering herself for the battle ahead. And she practices her Varpad forms in the cramped cargo hold, her lightsaber humming in the dim light. Ord Mantell is a rough world, a haven for smugglers and criminals where the Empire maintains only a token presence. The industrial districts are the worst of it, a maze of abandoned factories and crumbling infrastructure where the desperate scrape out an existence among the ruins. Kira spends 2 days tracking the fifth brother, following the trail of fear and violence he leaves in his wake. The Inquisitor isn't subtle. He questions locals with brutal efficiency, leaving broken bodies and terrified witnesses wherever he goes. The Jedi he's hunting has already fled, Kira senses, having escaped off-world before the Inquisitor arrived. But the fifth brother doesn't know this. He continues his search with single-minded determination, convinced that his prey is hiding somewhere in the district. Kira decides to give him something to find. She tracks him to an abandoned manufacturing facility, a massive complex of rusted machinery and collapsed catwalks. The Inquisitor is methodically searching the upper levels, his spinning double-bladed lightsaber casting red shadows on the corroded walls. Kira enters from below, moving in silence through the darkened corridors. She can feel the fifth brother's presence in the Force, a knot of aggression and cruelty that grows stronger as she approaches. He's powerful, she realizes, more powerful than she expected. This won't be easy. She finds a position in the shadows of the main production floor, watching as the Inquisitor descends from the catwalks above. He moves with a predator's confidence, clearly expecting to find frightened prey. She announces her presence by igniting her lightsaber, the purple blade casting strange shadows on the industrial machinery. The fifth brother turns, surprise flickering across his gray features, before being replaced by cruel amusement. "A child?" he sneers. "The Jedi must be desperate indeed if they're sending children to fight their battles." Kira doesn't respond. She simply waits, her blade held in the opening stance of Varpad. The fifth brother circles her, his double-bladed lightsaber spinning idly in his grip. He's sizing her up, she realizes, trying to determine if she's actually a threat. "You're not a Jedi," he says finally. "You don't move like one. You don't feel like one. What are you?" Something new, Kira replies. The Inquisitor attacks without further preamble, confident in his superior strength and experience. His spinning, double-bladed lightsaber whirls toward her in a pattern designed to overwhelm and disorient. The attack is powerful, aggressive, exactly what she expected. Kira flows around the attack like water around a stone. She doesn't try to match his strength. Instead, she redirects his momentum, using his own power to throw him off balance. Her blade catches his as it spins past, nudging it just enough to send him stumbling. The fifth brother recovers quickly, surprise evident in his expression. He attacks again, faster this time, the spinning blade creating a wall of crimson light. Most opponents would retreat from such an assault, but Kira does the opposite. She steps forward, inside the arc of his weapon, where its rotation becomes a liability rather than an asset. Her lightsaber strikes at his exposed flank, and he barely twists away in time. The blade grazes his armor, leaving a scorched line across his chest plate. "You're fast," the Inquisitor admits, "but speed won't save you." He changes tactics, abandoning the spinning attacks in favor of more controlled strikes. His blade moves in tight, efficient arcs, probing her defenses, looking for openings. Kira matches him move for move. Every attack he launches, she deflects or evades. Every opening he creates, she refuses to exploit, waiting for something better. She's testing him too, she realizes, learning his patterns, cataloging his tendencies. The fifth brother's confidence begins to fade. He presses harder, attacks becoming more aggressive as frustration builds. His footwork becomes sloppy, his strikes overextended. This is exactly what Kira wanted. She opens herself to his darkness, letting his anger flow into her through the Varpad connection. The sensation is different from training with Windu, raw and more violent. The fifth brother's hatred is a blunt instrument, all fury and no finesse. But it's powerful nonetheless. Kira feels it amplifying her own strength, her own speed. Each exchange leaves her stronger and him weaker. His attacks become more predictable, driven by emotion rather than skill. He knows he's losing. She can see it in his eyes, the dawning realization that he's outmatched. He tries to pull back, to disengage and reassess, but Kira doesn't give him the chance. She flows forward in a blur of purple light, her blade weaving patterns that he can't track. His defensive movements become desperate, each parry narrowly avoiding disaster. She drives him back through the facility, past rusted machinery and collapsed supports, until his back is against a wall. Kira ends it with a single stroke, her blade slicing through his defenses and into his chest. The fifth brother dies with a look of absolute shock on his face. She stands over his body for a long moment, her breathing heavy but controlled. Her first real kill, her first step on the path Windu set her on. She doesn't feel triumph. She doesn't feel much of anything. This was a test, nothing more. Practice for what is to come. She retrieves the Inquisitor's lightsaber as a trophy, then disappears into the industrial district before Imperial reinforcements can arrive. Over the next 2 years, Kira systematically hunts the Inquisitors. Each kill teaches her something new, refines her technique, brings her closer to her ultimate target. The sixth brother falls on Rada, a small agricultural moon where he's hunting a force-sensitive farmer. Kira arrives in time to save the young woman, engaging the Inquisitor in a running battle through the moon's grain fields. The sixth brother is more cautious than his predecessor, fighting defensively and looking for opportunities to escape. Kira doesn't give him any. She harries him relentlessly, never letting him rest, wearing him down until his defenses crumble. The kill is clean, a single thrust through the heart. The Force-sensitive farmer thanks her profusely, offering shelter and food. Kira declines, leaving only a warning to stay hidden and a suggestion to seek out other survivors. She doesn't mention her own connection to Windu. The fewer people who know about their operation, the safer they'll be. The seventh sister is her most challenging opponent before the Grand Inquisitor. Unlike the fifth and sixth brothers, she relies on cunning rather than strength. She fights with a calculating intelligence, probing for weaknesses, retreating when pressed and attacking when her opponent drops their guard. Kira tracks her to Taris, a world still recovering from ancient bombardment, where the seventh sister is hunting a group of Force-sensitive children being smuggled to safety by a former Jedi. The situation is complicated by the presence of civilians, the children themselves, and the seventh sister's ID-9 seeker droids that provide her with constant surveillance. The battle begins in the Undercity, where the smugglers have hidden their charges. Kira arrives just as the seventh sister corners them, her twin red blades ignited, and her droids circling like vultures. The Inquisitor is surprised to see her, clearly not expecting another Force user to interfere. But she recovers quickly, a cruel smile spreading across her pale features. Well, well, another fool come to die. How delightful. She attacks with a combination of lightsaber strikes and telekinetic assaults, her droids adding to the chaos with blaster fire from multiple angles. It's overwhelming, the kind of assault that would shatter most opponents. But Kira has trained for exactly this kind of situation. She deflects the blaster bolts without conscious thought, her blade moving on instinct, while her mind focuses on the seventh sister herself. The Inquisitor is skilled, more skilled than either of the brothers. Her form is precise, economical, wasting no movement. She fights with her mind as much as her blade, constantly probing for psychological weaknesses. "You're young," the seventh sister observes, circling. "Too young to remember the Republic. Too young to remember what the Jedi were." "Why do you fight for ghosts?" "I don't fight for the Jedi," Kira replies. "I fight for myself." Their blades clash, and the seventh sister immediately disengages, leaping to a higher platform. Her droids cover her retreat with suppressive fire. "Coward," Kira calls after her. The seventh sister laughs. "Tactician," she corrects. "Only fools stand and fight when they can run and win." Their battle spans half a city, running across rooftops and through crowded markets. The seventh sister uses every advantage she can find, leading Kira through traps, ambushes, and civilian-heavy areas where collateral damage would be unavoidable. Kira adapts. She learns to anticipate the Inquisitor's tricks, to recognize when she's being led into a trap. She takes out the seeker droids one by one, eliminating the surveillance advantage they provide. The seventh sister grows increasingly frustrated as her tactics fail. Her attacks become more aggressive, more desperate. She tries to use civilians as shields, forcing Kira to hold back to avoid innocent casualties. But Kira has spent years learning to control her emotions. She stays focused, patient, waiting for the opening she knows will come. It comes when the seventh sister makes a mistake, misjudging the distance between them after a particularly acrobatic leap. She lands on a rooftop expecting to have time to recover, but Kira is there in an instant, having anticipated the move. Her blade finds the gap in the Inquisitor's defense, slicing through the junction between helmet and armor. The seventh sister dies with a curse on her lips, her body tumbling from the rooftop to the street below. Kira doesn't pursue. She returns to the Undercity, where the smugglers are preparing to flee, and helps them evacuate the children. It's a small victory, saving a handful of lives, but it feels meaningful nonetheless. Perhaps there's more to this mission than just revenge. The eighth brother falls on Kashyyyk, where he's been hunting Wookiee Force sensitives with the help of Imperial slavers. The situation is more complex than previous missions, requiring Kira to coordinate with local resistance fighters. The journey to Kashyyyk itself is dangerous. The planet is under heavy Imperial blockade, and smuggling past the orbital defenses requires careful planning. Kira arranges passage with a Wookiee smuggler named Lobaka, who agrees to transport her in exchange for her help, eliminating an Imperial checkpoint that's been disrupting supply lines to the Resistance. The Wookiee homeworld is both beautiful and tragic. Ancient forests stretch toward the sky, their upper canopies creating a world of platforms and walkways where the Wookiees have lived for millennia. But Imperial industrialization has scarred the landscape, with smokestacks and processing plants rising from clear-cuts that scar the forest like wounds. The occupation has been brutal. Kira sees chain gangs of Wookiee slaves being marched toward labor camps, their proud spirits broken by years of Imperial cruelty. She feels their pain through the Force, a constant background hum of suffering that makes concentration difficult. Focus, she reminds herself. You're here for a specific purpose. The Wookiees are suspicious of outsiders, especially humans, given the Empire's brutal occupation of their world. But when Kira demonstrates her skills by single-handedly destroying an Imperial checkpoint, they begin to trust her. The checkpoint assault is a necessary demonstration. Kira approaches openly, giving the stormtroopers time to see her and raise their weapons. She wants them to report her presence, to spread word of a Jedi-like warrior on Kashyyyk. It will draw the eighth brother out of hiding. The troopers open fire, but their blaster bolts never reach her. She deflects them with casual ease, her purple blade weaving a barrier of light. Then she's among them, a blur of motion that leaves armored bodies in her wake. She doesn't kill them all. Some she merely disarms, leaving them alive to carry word of what happened. The message needs to spread. Her contact is a Wookiee warrior named Tarful, a veteran of the Clone Wars who still remembers fighting alongside the Jedi. He tells her of the eighth brother's activities, how the Inquisitor has been systematically hunting Force-sensitive Wookiees and selling them to the Empire as slaves. The revelation fills her with cold anger. Force-sensitive beings sold into slavery, their potential snuffed out before it can develop. It reminds her of her own parents, killed for no reason beyond Imperial paranoia. She promises Tarful that the eighth brother will die. It's not just a mission anymore, it's personal. The hunt takes 3 days. The eighth brother is cautious, aware that someone has been eliminating his colleagues across the galaxy. He stays mobile, never sleeping in the same place twice, surrounding himself with Imperial troops and his own network of informants. But Kira has something he doesn't. The Wookiee resistance provides her with intelligence, tracking his movements, identifying his safe houses. They know the forests in ways the Empire never will, and they're eager to help bring down the Inquisitor who has caused them so much suffering. On the third night, she corners him in a slave processing facility on the edge of the Shadowlands. The building is a nightmare of chains and cages, filled with Wookiees awaiting transport to labor camps across the galaxy. The eighth brother knows she's coming. He's set a trap, surrounded himself with 24 stormtroopers in defensive positions. It's a killing ground, designed to channel any attacker into overlapping fields of fire. Kira doesn't care. She attacks from above, dropping through a skylight in a shower of broken glass. The stormtroopers react quickly, but she's faster. Her lightsaber carves through their ranks, deflecting blaster bolts back at their sources while she spins through the room. The eighth brother joins the fight, his double-bladed lightsaber spinning in crimson arcs. He's smaller than the other brothers, relying on agility and unpredictability rather than brute strength. His fighting style incorporates acrobatics, constantly moving, never staying in one place long enough to be pinned down. It's a good tactic against most opponents. But Qi'ra has spent years training to fight exactly this kind of mobile adversary. She doesn't chase him. Instead, she controls the space, cutting off his escape routes, forcing him to come to her. When he tries to disengage, she's there to block him. When he tries to attack, she's ready with a counter. The surviving stormtroopers complicate things, forcing her to divide her attention. But they're also obstacles that the eighth brother has to navigate, and they die just as easily to his blade as to hers when they get in the way. The battle is fierce, chaotic, nothing like the controlled duels of her training. She has to adapt constantly, dealing with threats from multiple directions while maintaining pressure on her primary target. But she's equal to the challenge. Every obstacle Windu threw at her, every impossible scenario he constructed, has prepared her for this moment. The end comes when the eighth brother tries one acrobatic leap too many. He's aiming for a catwalk above them, hoping to gain the high ground and reassess. But Qi'ra anticipates the move, reaching out with the Force to shove him off course. He crashes into the catwalk instead of landing on it, momentarily stunned. Before he can recover, Qi'ra is there, her blade slicing through his defenses and into his chest. The Inquisitor dies with a look of disbelief on his face. He never expected to lose. Qi'ra doesn't waste time with the body. She moves through the facility, cutting locks and chains, freeing the captive Wookiees. They're confused at first, then grateful, then fierce with determination to escape. Tarful's forces arrive to complete the liberation, overwhelming the remaining Imperial presence. The facility burns behind them as they fade into the forest, taking the freed prisoners to safety. It's a victory, and a larger one than Qi'ra expected. Not just an Inquisitor dead, but dozens of lives saved, a blow struck against the Empire's slave machine. Perhaps there's more to this mission than just revenge. It's personal for Tarful. His own grandson is among the missing. Qi'ra helps the Wookiees plan an assault on the Eighth Brother's base of operations, a former slaver compound deep in the Rosha forests. The attack is coordinated to draw Imperial forces away, while a strike team, led by Qi'ra, infiltrates the compound directly. The Eighth Brother is waiting for them. He's a paranoid creature, Qi'ra realizes, having survived this long by anticipating threats before they materialize. His trap catches several Wookiee warriors in a crossfire, and for a moment it seems like the mission has failed. But Qi'ra pushes forward, cutting through the Inquisitor's defenses with brutal efficiency. She reaches him on the compound's landing platform, where his escape shuttle waits with engines already warming. "You should have run faster," she tells him. The Eighth Brother doesn't respond with words. He attacks with a desperate fury, his spinning blade whirling in patterns designed to create space for escape rather than victory. He's not trying to win, she realizes. He's trying to survive. She doesn't let him. The battle is fierce, but one-sided. The Eighth Brother's defensive style is no match for her Varpad aggression. She channels his fear, his desperation, using them to fuel attacks he can't block. His lightsaber shatters under a particularly powerful strike, and Qi'ra's blade finds his chest before he can recover. She leaves his body for the Wookiees to deal with as they see fit. Tarful thanks her profusely, his grandson having been found among the compound's prisoners. She accepts the gratitude with quiet grace, then slips away into the forest, before anyone can ask too many questions. With each kill, Kira grows more confident, more deadly, more ready for the confrontation that has been the focus of her entire adult life. But she also grows more thoughtful. The missions have shown her that the galaxy's problems extend far beyond Vader, that defeating him won't automatically make everything right. Still, Vader is the symbol, the enforcer, the monster who keeps the Empire's victims too afraid to fight back. His death or his defeat would mean something beyond personal revenge. Then comes the Grand Inquisitor. He is the leader of the Inquisitors, Vader's right hand in the hunt for surviving Jedi. A former temple guard who fell to the dark side, he combines formidable lightsaber skills with a cruel intellect that makes him far more dangerous than his subordinates. Kira has been dreading this confrontation. The Grand Inquisitor is in a different class than the others, closer to Vader himself in terms of skill and power. He's killed more Jedi than any other Inquisitor, including several who were masters in the Old Order. She tracks him to Stygian Prime, a frozen world that serves as an Imperial prison facility. The Grand Inquisitor is there to interrogate a captured Jedi, one of the last survivors of the Purge. Kira's original plan is to free the prisoner, but she arrives too late. The Jedi is already dead, executed after revealing nothing of value. The prison is a fortress of black stone and ice, its walls designed to contain Force users through a combination of technology and dark side energy. Breaking in is challenging, requiring Kira to navigate security systems, avoid patrols, and deal with the oppressive cold that saps her strength. She finds the Grand Inquisitor in the prison's lower levels, where the cold is so intense that frost forms on her skin. The chamber is vast, a former interrogation room converted into something far more sinister. Force-dampening equipment lines the walls, and the floor is stained with the blood of countless victims. The Grand Inquisitor stands in the center of the room, his back to her, apparently studying a datapad. But Kira knows better than to assume he's unaware of her presence. This is a trap, and she's walked into it willingly. "You're the one who's been killing my Inquisitors," the Grand Inquisitor observes, turning slowly to face her. His tone is calm, almost conversational, as if they were discussing the weather. "I've been looking forward to meeting you." He's taller than she expected, his features gaunt and pale, his yellow eyes burning with dark side corruption. He wears the uniform of his office, black and grey with crimson accents, and carries himself with the confidence of someone who has never been defeated. Kira ignites her lightsaber. I wish I could say the same. The Grand Inquisitor smiles, a thin expression that doesn't reach his eyes. He draws his own weapon, a dual-bladed lightsaber that can split into two separate blades. Such anger, such hatred. You hide it well, but I can feel it. Tell me, who taught you to fight like this? No Jedi I've ever encountered moves the way you do. Someone who wanted Vader dead, Kira replies, and was willing to cross lines. The Jedi never would. Interesting. The Grand Inquisitor begins to circle, his blades igniting with a distinctive snap hiss. The fifth brother was a brute. The sixth was a fool. The seventh was clever but overconfident. The eighth was a coward. You have killed them all, and yet here you stand before me, acting as if that means something. It means I'm good at what I do. It means you've been lucky. The Grand Inquisitor's smile widens. Luck has a way of running out. She attacks. The Grand Inquisitor meets her assault with casual grace, his dual blades weaving defensive patterns that seem impossible to penetrate. He's faster than she expected, his movements precise and economical. Every block flows into a counter, every dodge becomes an opportunity. This is different from her previous battles. The other Inquisitors were dangerous, but none of them were on this level. The Grand Inquisitor fights like a true master, his technique refined through years of practice and hundreds of kills. Qi'ra adapts. She abandons her initial aggressive approach in favor of something more measured, probing his defenses while looking for patterns. Every fighter has habits, tendencies they fall back on when pressed. The Grand Inquisitor is no exception. She begins to notice things. He favors his left side when defending, leaving a slight weakness on his right. His footwork, while excellent, becomes predictable when he's forced to retreat, and his aggression, when he chooses to attack, follows patterns she can anticipate. But noticing weaknesses and exploiting them are two different things. The Grand Inquisitor is too skilled to leave easy openings. Every time she thinks she sees an opportunity, it turns out to be a trap. A feint designed to draw her into position for a counterattack. Their blades clash again and again, the sound echoing off the chamber's frozen walls. Qi'ra feels the cold seeping into her bones, sapping her strength, making her movements a fraction slower than they should be. The Grand Inquisitor shows no such weakness. Either he's adapted to the cold, or his connection to the dark side makes him immune. "You're good," he admits, deflecting a particularly aggressive combination. "Better than the Jedi I've killed. But you're holding back. I can feel it. There's power in you that you're not using." He's right. She hasn't opened herself fully to the Varpad connection, hasn't drawn on his darkness to fuel her attacks. Part of her is afraid of what will happen if she does. The Grand Inquisitor's darkness is deeper than anything she's faced before, more refined and more dangerous. But she can't win like this. He's too good, too experienced. She needs every advantage she can get. She opens herself to the darkness. The sensation is overwhelming, like plunging into ice water. The Grand Inquisitor's hatred flows into her, cold and calculating, and utterly without mercy. This isn't the raw fury of the fifth brother, or the desperate fear of the eighth. This is something older, more controlled, more dangerous. For a moment, she nearly loses herself in it. The darkness whispers promises of power, showing her how easy it would be to surrender, to embrace the void, and become something terrible and strong. But Qi'ra has walked this edge before. She grips the darkness with her will and forces it to serve her purposes. Her attacks come faster now, harder, driven by power she's channeling from her opponent. The Grand Inquisitor's eyes widen slightly as he feels the shift, as he realizes what she's doing. "Varpad," he breathes. "You're using my own aggression against me." He responds by pulling back, dampening his emotions, trying to deny her the fuel she needs. It's a clever tactic, one that would work against most Varpad practitioners. But Qi'ra has spent years learning to maintain the connection, even when her opponent holds back. She reaches deeper, finding the buried hatred beneath his controlled exterior. The old wounds that never healed. The ambition and resentment that drove him to betray the Jedi Order. The Grand Inquisitor snarls and attacks with renewed fury, abandoning his attempt at emotional control. His blades become a storm of crimson light, striking from every angle, trying to overwhelm her through sheer aggression. It's exactly what she wanted. The more he attacks, the stronger she becomes. His fury flows through her, amplifying her own strikes until they ring against his defenses like thunder. The force itself seems to howl around them, light and dark colliding in a maelstrom of power. They fight through the prison's corridors, into the detention blocks where empty cells line the walls, and finally into the main generator room, where massive power conduits hum with energy. The cold here is even more intense, their breath frosting in the air, ice forming on their weapons between clashes. The battle lasts for nearly an hour, longer than any of her previous confrontations. The Grand Inquisitor is relentless, drawing on reserves of strength that seem inexhaustible. Every time she thinks she's gaining the upper hand, he finds a way to equalize, to turn her attacks back against her. But he's older than Kira, his body less capable of sustained effort, despite his dark side enhancement. As the battle drags on, his attacks begin to slow. His defenses become a fraction less precise. His breathing grows heavy, his movements more labored. Kira sees her opening. She launches a feint toward his left side, the weakness she identified earlier. He moves to block, committing his weight in that direction. But she was never aiming for his left. She redirects her blade at the last instant, catching one of his weapons in a bind and wrenching it aside with all her strength. The impact throws him off balance, and she follows up with an elbow strike to his face. Bone crunches, blood sprays. The Grand Inquisitor staggers back, one blade falling from his grip. She doesn't give him time to recover. A kick to his knee drops him to the ground, and her lightsaber finds his throat before he can rise. "Who trained you?" the Grand Inquisitor gasps, blood streaming from his broken nose. Kira considers the question. There's no harm in answering now. He'll be dead in moments, and the knowledge will die with him. Mace Windu. The Grand Inquisitor's eyes widen. For the first time since their battle began, she sees genuine shock on his face. Impossible. Windu died on Coruscant. Lord Vader himself witnessed his fall. No. Kira's blade hums against his skin, close enough to burn. He survived, and he spent the last decade preparing me for what comes next. Vader. The Grand Inquisitor actually laughs, a wheezing sound that might be admiration or might be hysteria. You actually think you can defeat Lord Vader? He's not like me. He's not like any of us. He's something else entirely, a force of nature, unstoppable. I've heard that before. About you. The Grand Inquisitor's laughter fades. He looks at her with something that might be respect, or might be pity. You're good, he admits. Better than good. You might even be the best I've ever faced. But Vader is different. He doesn't fight like a man. He fights like a storm, like an avalanche, like the darkness itself given form. You can't counter that with skill or technique. You can only survive it if you're lucky. I'm not relying on luck, then you're a fool. But perhaps that's what it takes. Perhaps only a fool would dare to challenge him. The Grand Inquisitor's expression hardens. Finish it then. Show me how a fool dies. I know I can. She removes his head with a single stroke, clean and precise, exactly as Windu taught her. The Grand Inquisitor's body slumps to the frozen ground, his remaining lightsaber extinguishing with a fading hiss. Kira stands over him for a long moment, her breathing heavy, her body aching from the sustained effort. This was the hardest fight of her life, harder than anything she's faced before. And Vader will be worse. She retrieves the Grand Inquisitor's lightsaber as a trophy, then makes her way out of the prison. Imperial alarms are already sounding, soldiers rushing to investigate the disturbance. She avoids them easily, slipping through the shadows like a ghost. By the time she reaches her ship, the full weight of what she's accomplished begins to settle on her shoulders. The Grand Inquisitor is dead. The Empire's most successful Jedi hunter has fallen to her blade. And now, there's only one target left. She leaves the body for the Empire to find, letting them know that someone is coming for them, someone they should fear. Word of the Grand Inquisitor's death reaches Vader within hours. He stands in his meditation chamber, aboard the Executor, his mask removed to reveal the scarred ruin of his face. The holographic report flickers before him, showing the crime scene on Stygian Prime. A young woman, a purple lightsaber, fighting techniques that blend aggressive offense with something the Imperial analysts can't quite identify, and a name spoken by the dying Grand Inquisitor before backup arrived. Mace Windu. Vader clenches his fist, and the holoprojector shatters into 1,000 pieces. He remembers that name, remembers the face of the man who held a lightsaber at his master's throat, who would have killed Palpatine if Anakin hadn't intervened. Windu should be dead. Vader felt certain of it all those years ago. The fall from the Chancellor's window, the lightning damage, the chaos of Order 66. No one could have survived all that. But apparently someone did. And that someone has spent the last decade building a weapon aimed directly at him. For the first time in years, Vader feels something that might be anticipation. He has grown bored with hunting frightened survivors who cower and flee. This woman, this creation of Windu's, she might actually provide a challenge. He will deal with her personally. Back on Varath Prime, Kira delivers her report to Windu. The old master listens in silence, his expression unreadable. When she finishes, he nods slowly. "You've done well. Better than I hoped. The Grand Inquisitor was formidable, and you defeated him. But Vader is something else entirely." Windu's voice is heavy with warning. "The Inquisitors were tests, Kira. Warm-up exercises. Vader is the real thing. His power in the Force is greater than anyone I've ever encountered, and his skills with a lightsaber are unmatched. You've told me all this before. I know. But there's a difference between knowing something intellectually and facing it in reality. When you face Vader, you will feel the weight of his presence in the Force. It will try to crush you, to break your will before the fighting even begins. You must be prepared for that." Kira meets his eyes steadily. "I am prepared. You've spent 10 years making sure of it." Windu studies her for a long moment. Then slowly, he nods. "Yes, I believe you are." He rises and moves to the back of the cave, where a hidden compartment holds items he's collected over the years. He returns with a small chest, which he places between them. "I've been saving these for when you were ready." He opens the chest to reveal a kyber crystal, glowing with a soft purple light, and a lightsaber hilt of elegant design. "This was mine before Coruscant. I thought it was lost forever, but I managed to recover it years ago. The crystal is damaged, unusable, but the hilt is yours now." Kira takes the hilt reverently. It's lighter than she expected, perfectly balanced. "Master, You've earned it." Windu's voice is gruff, but there's something almost like warmth beneath the surface. "The crystal from your training saber will work. It's not ideal, but it will serve." She spends the next several days modifying the hilt to accept her crystal, using skills Windu taught her years ago. When she finally ignites the blade, it burns a brilliant purple, matching the color of Windu's own weapon. It feels right in her hand, like an extension of her body. But even as she prepares for the confrontation ahead, she notices something troubling. Windu is weakening. His movements are slower, more pained. Dark circles have appeared under his eyes, and he sleeps far more than he used to. One evening, she asks him directly, "What's wrong with you?" Windu is quiet for a long moment. Then he sighs. "The lightning. From Sidious. It did more damage than I realized at the time." "What do you mean?" He holds up his hand, and she sees that it's trembling. "The dark side energy seared channels through my body. My nerves, my organs, everything was touched by it. I've been managing the effects through the Force, but it's getting harder. How long? He meets her eyes. Months, perhaps. A year at most. Kira feels as if the ground has shifted beneath her feet. All these years, she's thought of Windu as an immovable pillar, harsh but eternal. The idea that he might die, that she might have to face the future without him, is almost impossible to process. Why didn't you tell me? Because it doesn't matter. Windu's voice is firm. I've always known I wouldn't live to see the Empire fall. That was never my purpose. My purpose was to prepare you, to give you the tools and training you need to do what I cannot. To kill Vader. Yes. Windu reaches out and takes her hand, a gesture of affection he's never shown before. You are my legacy, Kira. Everything I know, everything I am, lives on in you. When I'm gone, you will carry that forward. You will finish what I started. Tears sting her eyes, but she doesn't let them fall. I won't let you down. I know you won't. They choose the battleground carefully. An abandoned Jedi outpost on the moon of Andor Prime, destroyed during the initial purge but still standing. It was a training facility once, where young Padawans came to learn the ways of the Force. Now it's a ruin, overgrown with vegetation and haunted by ghosts. But it's still strong with the Force. The memories of fallen Jedi linger here, their presence giving the place a weight that Kira can feel the moment she steps onto the surface. It will serve as a fitting stage for what is to come. Windu sends out the signal himself, a message transmitted on frequencies he knows the Empire monitors, daring Vader to face them. The words are carefully chosen, designed to provoke. Mace Windu to Darth Vader. I survived Coruscant. I know who you really are, Anakin. Come find me on Andor Prime if you have the courage. Let's finish what we started. The challenge is unmistakable, and Windu knows Vader well enough to predict his response. He'll come, the old master says. His pride won't allow him to refuse. They spend the next 3 days preparing. Windu walks Kira through every corner of the outpost, showing her the tactical advantages and hazards. He drills her on Vader's fighting style one last time, reminding her of the patterns she's memorized and the weaknesses she'll need to exploit. And on the final night, he tells her something he's never shared before. I was there when Anakin fell. Kira looks up from her meditation. What? In Palpatine's office. I had defeated him, had my lightsaber at his throat. I was about to strike the killing blow when Anakin arrived. Windu's voice is heavy with old grief. He begged me to spare Palpatine, said we needed him to stand trial. But I knew the truth. I knew that if we let Palpatine live, he would find a way to escape justice. So I ignored Anakin and prepared to finish it. What happened? Anakin cut off my hand, saved Palpatine's life, and then stood by while the lightning threw me from the window. Kira is silent, processing this. So Vader's fall wasn't just about Padme. No, it was about many things. Fear, ambition, manipulation. But in that moment, it was also about me, about my refusal to trust him, to treat him as an equal. I pushed him away when I should have pulled him closer. He meets her eyes, and she sees something she's never seen in them before. Regret. I've spent years wondering if things could have been different, if I had been kinder, more understanding. Perhaps Anakin would have made a different choice. Perhaps the galaxy wouldn't have burned. You can't know that. No, I can't. But I can acknowledge that my hands aren't clean in this. I bear some responsibility for what Anakin became. Why are you telling me this? Because when you face him, you'll be tempted to see him as pure evil, a monster without redeeming qualities. And in many ways that's true. But he was also a victim of circumstances, manipulated by forces beyond his understanding. Windu pauses. I'm not asking you to forgive him. I'm asking you to understand him. Not as an excuse, but as a weapon. Kira nods slowly. Use his humanity against him. Use everything against him. His humanity, his guilt, his self-hatred. When you have him at your mercy, show him what he could have been, what he threw away. Make him feel the weight of his choices, and then kill him? Windu is quiet for a long moment. Then he shakes his head. That will be your choice to make. I've trained you to be capable of killing him. What you do with that capability is up to you. It's the most surprising thing he's ever said to her, after years of preparation focused on one goal. To hear him suggest she might choose otherwise is almost impossible to comprehend. I thought you wanted him dead. I do, but I've also learned that what I want isn't always what's right. Windu's voice is tired now, the voice of an old man facing the end of his life. I've made many mistakes, Kira. I've let my anger guide me when I should have followed wisdom. Perhaps the greatest victory over Vader wouldn't be killing him, but showing him there's another way. He rises slowly, joints creaking. Get some rest. Tomorrow, everything changes. The fourth day dawns cold and gray, clouds covering the sky in a blanket of steel. Kira wakes early and prepares herself with ritual care. She dons the dark robes Windu provided, checks her lightsaber one final time, and centers herself in the Force. She can feel Vader coming. His presence approaches like a dark star, warping the Force around it. The weight of his power is immense, greater than anything she's felt before. Even at this distance, it tries to press down on her, to break her will. She doesn't let it. Instead, she uses the pressure as focus, channeling her awareness into a single point of clarity. This is the moment she's been preparing for since she was 12 years old. Every drill, every lesson, every scar has led to this. Whatever happens today, she will face it without fear. Windu meets her in the courtyard of the ruined outpost. He looks older today, wearier, the toll of his injuries more visible than ever. But his eyes are clear and determined. He's made peace with what's coming, she realizes. He knows he might not survive the day, and he's accepted it. Are you ready? Yes. He nods. Then let's end this. They take their positions at the top of the temple stairs, standing side by side, as they've done countless times in training. Below them, the overgrown courtyard stretches toward a landing platform that was once used for supply shuttles. Vegetation has reclaimed much of the area, vines crawling over ancient stone, trees pushing through cracked permacrete. But the stairs themselves remain clear, as if the Force itself has preserved them for this moment. Now, it serves another purpose. A shuttle descends from orbit, its imperial markings stark against the gray sky. Lambda class, Kira notes automatically, her trained eye cataloging details without conscious thought. Standard configuration. No visible weapons modifications. Vader came alone, or nearly so. It lands with a hiss of hydraulics, and the ramp lowers slowly. For a long moment, nothing happens. The wind rustles through the overgrown vegetation. Somewhere in the distance, a bird calls. The galaxy holds its breath. Then Darth Vader emerges. He's exactly as Kira imagined and nothing like it at the same time. The black armor gleams despite the overcast sky, as if it generates its own darkness. The flowing cape billows behind him in a wind that doesn't touch anything else. And the mechanical breathing, that steady rhythmic sound that has haunted her dreams for years, echoes across the courtyard like a death rattle. He moves with a predator's grace, each step deliberate and measured. There's no hesitation, no uncertainty. He has come to kill them, and he expects to succeed. This is simply another task, another obstacle to be eliminated. But it's his presence in the Force that truly staggers her. It's like standing before a collapsing star, the weight of his power threatening to pull her in and crush her. The Grand Inquisitor was dangerous. Vader is something else entirely. A nexus of dark side energy so intense, it makes her eyes water just to perceive it. She feels his rage, a constant burning fury that never dims. She feels his hatred, directed at them, at the galaxy, at himself. She feels his bottomless well of pain, the suffering that fuels his connection to the dark side. And beneath it all, buried so deep she almost misses it, a flicker of something else. Loneliness, a profound, aching isolation that has no remedy. He's cut himself off from everything that once gave his life meaning, and some part of him, the part that's still Anakin Skywalker, knows it. Vader pauses at the base of the stairs, his mask tilted upward to observe them. Two figures standing side by side, one old and broken, one young and burning with purpose. The purple glow of their lightsabers casts strange shadows on the ancient stone. Mace Windu. The voice is mechanical, distorted by the vocoder, but there's an undertone of genuine surprise. I thought you died on Coruscant. I felt your presence fade as you fell. I survived. Windu's voice is steady, showing none of the emotion that must be churning beneath the surface. It wasn't easy. Your master's lightning left marks that have never healed. But I'm still here, Anakin. Still waiting to finish what we started. Vader's hands clench into fists. That name no longer has any meaning for me. Anakin Skywalker was weak, foolish, chained by attachments and emotions that made him vulnerable. I destroyed him long ago, doesn't it? Then why does it still hurt when you hear it? Why do you still flinch at the sound of what you used to be? I can feel your reaction through the Force, Anakin. You can lie to the galaxy, but you can't lie to me. Silence. The tension builds like a thunderstorm, pressure mounting until something has to break. Vader's breathing becomes harsher, more ragged, betraying emotions his mask is designed to hide. Then he reaches for his lightsaber, and the crimson blade ignites with a snap hiss that echoes off the ruined walls. The red light bathes his armor in bloody hues, making him look even more like the monster he's become. You should have stayed dead, old man. It would have been kinder to both of us. Windu ignites his own weapon, the purple blade that Kira has seen countless times in training, but that somehow looks different now. More real, more final. This isn't practice anymore. This is the culmination of everything they've worked for. Perhaps. But first, I had something to do. He gestures toward Kira, who ignites her own lightsaber. The purple light joins Windu's, creating a mirror image that makes Vader pause. His mask turns slightly, as if he's seeing her for the first time. My legacy, Windu continues. The weapon I created to destroy you. Everything I know, everything I've learned, forged into a single purpose. She's been training for this moment since before she could drive a speeder. You, Anakin, you are the reason she exists. My name, Vader growls, and there's real anger in his voice now, is Vader. Your name is whatever lie you need to tell yourself to sleep at night. But we both know the truth. We both know who's really hiding behind that mask. A scared little slave boy from Tatooine who thought he could outrun his past by becoming a monster. Vader ascends the stairs, his cape flowing behind him. Each step seems to shake the ground, the weight of his presence growing heavier with each passing moment. Kira feels the pressure increasing, the dark side trying to crush her will, but she doesn't yield. When he reaches the top, he stands facing them, his crimson blade humming with barely contained violence. He's massive up close, taller and broader than she expected, the armor adding to his already imposing frame. "I will enjoy killing you both. First the teacher, then the student. And then I will forget you ever existed, just as I've forgotten everyone else who dared to challenge me." Windu steps forward. "Before you face her, you face me." "Unfinished business, Anakin," from the Chancellor's office. 20 years I've waited for this. 20 years of planning and preparing. Let's see what those years have taught us. Vader doesn't respond with words. He attacks. The first exchange is blindingly fast, crimson and purple blades clashing in a storm of light and sound. Windu meets Vader's aggression with Vapad, channeling the Dark Lord's hatred back at him. For a moment, they're evenly matched, two masters of their craft, testing each other's defenses. Kira watches with a trained eye, cataloging everything she sees. Vader's style has evolved since the Clone Wars recordings she studied. He's more deliberate now, less flashy. The aerial acrobatics that characterized Anakin's fighting have been replaced by a grinding, relentless pressure that seeks to overwhelm opponents through sheer power. But he's also slower. The suit that keeps him alive also limits his mobility. His movements, while powerful, lack the explosive speed he once possessed. Windu is exploiting this. He stays mobile, never letting Vader pin him down, forcing the Dark Lord to constantly adjust his attacks. His Vapad flows around Vader's strikes like water around a stone, redirecting rather than blocking, conserving energy rather than wasting it. But Windu is not what he was. The years have taken their toll, and Vader is stronger now than Anakin ever was. The dark side has enhanced him, amplified his already formidable abilities. Each strike carries the weight of 2 decades of rage, and even deflected blows send shockwaves through Windu's arms. Windu gives ground, retreating through the ruined temple as Vader presses his advantage. He uses the terrain to neutralize Vader's power, ducking behind columns and forcing the Dark Lord to adjust his attacks. He scores small hits, grazing Vader's shoulder, nicking his thigh, leaving scorch marks on the black armor. But it's not enough. She can see it in the way Windu moves, the slight hesitation in his steps, the tremor in his hands. His body is failing, the damage from Sidious's lightning finally catching up with him. Every exchange costs him more than it should. "You're weaker than I remember," Vader observes, pressing his advantage. "Slower. The lightning's toll, I presume. My master's handiwork tends to linger. Did you really think you could defeat me like this?" "No." Windu parries a powerful strike that nearly disarms him, the impact sending him staggering back. "But I don't need to defeat you. I just need to soften you up." He ducks under Vader's next attack, a sweeping horizontal slash that would have taken his head, and thrusts his lightsaber forward with all his remaining strength. The blade catches Vader's respirator, carving a deep gouge across the front of his mask. Sparks fly, circuitry sizzles, and Vader staggers back, his breathing suddenly labored and ragged. The sound of his respirator changes, becoming more desperate, more strained. Air hisses from the damaged system, and for a moment, Kira can see the scarred flesh beneath the mask, pale and withered and wrong. In the same instant, Vader's counterstrike finds Windu's chest. The blade punches through the old Jedi's defenses, through his robes, through his body. It's not a killing blow, not quite, but it's close. Windu's eyes widen, not with surprise, but with acceptance. He knew this was coming. The old Jedi falls, his lightsaber slipping from his fingers and extinguishing as it hits the ground. Blood pools beneath him, dark against the ancient stone. Qi'ra rushes to his side, her heart pounding, her training nearly forgotten in the face of losing the closest thing to a father she's ever known. "Master." Windu looks up at her, and despite everything, he smiles. A genuine smile, perhaps the first she's ever seen on his face. The harsh lines of his features soften, the stern teacher giving way to something warmer. "Finish what I started," he whispers, "and remember what I told you. The choice is yours, Qi'ra. Not mine. Yours. Master Windu, please, don't leave me." He reaches up and touches her face with his remaining hand, his prosthetic having been damaged in the fight. The touch is gentle, almost fatherly. "I'm proud of you, Qi'ra. More than you know. More than I ever told you. You were never just a weapon to me. You became something more. Something better." His eyes begin to lose focus, looking past her at something she can't see. The Force is calling him home, and she can feel his presence beginning to fade. "Tell them," he whispers. "Tell them the Jedi never gave up. Tell them we fought until the end. Tell them." His voice trails off. His hand falls from her face. Then Mace Windu becomes one with the Force, his body fading into the light, leaving behind only empty robes and a lightsaber that will never be ignited again. Qi'ra kneels beside the empty robes for a long moment. Grief wells up inside her, threatening to overwhelm her carefully maintained control. 10 years of training, 10 years of preparation, and nothing could prepare her for this. The man who saved her, who shaped her, who gave her purpose when she had none, is gone. She wants to scream, to cry, to rage against the injustice of it all. She wants to throw herself at Vader with abandon, to avenge Windu's death regardless of the consequences. The darkness inside her surges, demanding release, demanding vengeance. But she doesn't. She takes a breath, centers herself, and rises. Windu didn't sacrifice himself so she could throw her life away in a fit of grief. He sacrificed himself to give her a chance. She will not waste it. Vader is watching her, his damaged respirator making his breathing harsh and irregular. Through the gouge in his mask, she can see scarred flesh and one yellow eye, burning with dark side corruption. "Your master is dead," Vader says. "You are alone." Qi'ra ignites her lightsaber. The purple blade hums in the air, casting strange shadows on the ruined walls. "I'm not alone. I carry everything he was inside me. And now I'm going to use it to destroy you." She attacks. The first exchange tests Vader's defenses, probing for the weaknesses she knows exist. His breathing is labored from the damage to his respirator, and the wound on his shoulder limits his mobility. Windu softened him up, exactly as planned. But even diminished, Vader is terrifying. His counterattacks come with devastating power, each strike threatening to shatter her guard. The Force howls around him, dark side energy amplifying his already formidable strength. Qi'ra doesn't try to match him, blow for blow. Instead, she flows around his attacks like water, using the Vapad techniques Windu taught her. She opens herself to his darkness, letting his hatred flow into her and amplify her own strikes. The more aggressive he becomes, the stronger she grows. It's exactly as Windu predicted. Vader's power is immense, but his reliance on raw aggression makes him predictable, exploitable. Vader senses what she's doing and adapts, shifting from raw aggression to a more controlled style. His attacks become precise, calculated, designed to trap rather than overwhelm. He's testing her now, looking for patterns in her movement, trying to find the weakness that will let him end this quickly. But Kira has studied him for a decade. She knows his patterns better than he does. Every recording, every account, every insight Windu shared has been burned into her memory. When he feints left, she's already moving right. When he tries to trap her blade in a bind, she disengages and strikes from a different angle. When he attempts to use the Force to push her back, she absorbs the energy and channels it into her next attack. For the first time since she began fighting, she sees something in Vader's posture that looks almost like respect. They fight through the ruined temple, their blades casting purple and crimson shadows on the ancient walls. The Force storm around them intensifies, light and dark colliding in a maelstrom of power. Stone cracks beneath their feet. Columns shatter from mist strikes. The very air seems to burn with the intensity of their conflict. Neither of them holds back. This is a battle to the death, and both of them know it. Every attack is meant to kill. Every defense is meant to create an opening for counterattack. There's no room for mercy, no space for hesitation. And yet, somehow, they're evenly matched. Kira had always wondered if her training would be enough. If all those years of preparation could truly bridge the gap between her and the most feared warrior in the galaxy. Now she has her answer. She's good enough, maybe more than good enough. You fight well, Vader admits grudgingly, deflecting a combination that nearly takes his remaining arm. Better than any Jedi I've faced since the Purge. Better than most of the masters I killed in the temple. I'm not a Jedi. Kira's voice is steady, despite the exertion, despite the sweat running down her face, despite the ache in muscles that have been pushed to their absolute limit. I'm something new, something Windu created specifically to destroy you. Every technique I know, every tactic I employ, was designed with one purpose in mind. You, Vader. You are why I exist. Windu was a fool. He clung to the old ways even as they crumbled around him. He thought rigid discipline and ancient forms could overcome true power. He was wrong then, and he's wrong now. Whatever he taught you will not be enough to defeat me. He's wrong, and some part of him knows it. Kira can feel the uncertainty beneath his words, the doubt that's creeping into his mind. She's keeping pace with him, matching his skill and countering his power. This isn't what he expected. He came here expecting to crush them effortlessly, to add 2 more corpses to the countless victims he's claimed over the years. Instead, he's fighting for his life. Time to press the advantage, not physically, but psychologically. Windu taught her that Vader's mind is as vulnerable as his body, that the right words can cut deeper than any lightsaber. You know, Windu told me everything about you, she says, her blade weaving a defensive pattern that deflects his next assault. About your childhood as a slave on Tatooine. About your mother, Shmi, who died in your arms while you were too weak to save her. About how you slaughtered an entire village of sand people in revenge. Men, women, children, all of them. You butchered them like animals and felt nothing but satisfaction. Vader's attacks become more aggressive, driven by the emotions she's stirring. Be silent. About Padme Amidala. Kira continues as if he hadn't spoken. The woman you loved more than anything in the galaxy. The woman you betrayed the Jedi Order to save. The woman you promised a life of happiness and peace. I said be silent. His blade comes faster now, harder. The controlled technique is starting to slip, replaced by something raw and more dangerous, but also more predictable. She can feel his control slipping, feel the rage building inside him like water behind a failing dam. Good. This is what she wanted. This is what Windu trained her for. Tell me, Anakin, she says, using the name deliberately, like a weapon. What did it feel like to choke her with your own hands? To watch the life fade from her eyes while she begged you to stop? To feel your unborn child dying inside her because of what you did? Did you tell yourself it was an accident? Did you convince yourself you weren't really a murderer? Vader roars, a sound of pure animal rage that echoes through the ruined temple. He lunges at her, abandoning all pretense of technique. His attacks are savage, powerful, but sloppy. She dances around them, letting his momentum carry him past her, scoring small hits on his already damaged armor. Each miss enrages him further. Each failed attack proves her point. He's not in control anymore. She is. She killed herself, Vader screams, and there's genuine anguish in his distorted voice, genuine pain that cuts through the mechanical distortion. She gave up. She abandoned me. She lost the will to live because she couldn't accept what I had become. No. Kira's voice is cold, pitiless, the voice of judgment itself. You killed her. Your anger, your fear, your weakness. You destroyed the only person who ever truly loved you. And you've spent 20 years pretending otherwise. Every life you've taken since then, every world you've burned, every child you've orphaned, it's all been running from that simple truth. You are a murderer. And your first victim was the woman you claimed to love. She can feel him breaking. The carefully constructed walls he built around his grief are crumbling under her assault. 20 years of suppressed guilt and self-hatred are bubbling to the surface, disrupting his focus, weakening his control. The monster is crumbling, and beneath it she can see the terrified, broken man he really is. But the dark side feeds on such emotions, and even as his technique suffers, his raw power grows. Lightning crackles around his fists, blue-white energy that makes her hair stand on end, and he unleashes it in a devastating barrage that Kira barely manages to deflect with her blade. The lightning scorches the ground where she was standing a moment before. It shatters columns, ignites dry vegetation, turns ancient stone to molten slag. Vader isn't aiming anymore. He's just lashing out, trying to destroy everything in his path. The Force duel that follows is unlike anything she's experienced. Vader throws everything he has at her, trying to overwhelm her defenses through sheer power. Furniture and debris fly through the air, ancient artifacts that have survived millennia becoming deadly projectiles. The ground cracks and heaves beneath her feet. Reality itself seems to bend under the pressure of his fury. But Kira has spent years learning to weather such storms. She roots herself in the Force, drawing on both light and dark to maintain her position. She absorbs what she can of his attacks and redirects the rest, using his own power against him. The Varpad connection is fully open now, his darkness flowing through her like a river, amplifying her strength even as it tests her control. She can feel the abyss calling to her, promising power beyond imagining if she would only let go. It would be so easy to surrender, to become the monster she was created to destroy. The darkness whispers that killing Vader would be easier if she gave in, that mercy is weakness, that the only true victory is annihilation. She refuses. She walks the edge, as she was trained to do, drawing power from the darkness without surrendering to it. And all the while, she keeps talking. You could have been the greatest Jedi who ever lived, the chosen one, the hero who brought balance to the Force and peace to the galaxy. Instead, you chose to be a slave again. Not to the Hutts this time, but to Palpatine, his attack dog, fetching and killing on command. Is that what Padme would have wanted for you? Is that what Shmi would have wanted for her son? Vader screams, a sound of pure anguish that echoes off the ruined walls. He abandons the Force duel and charges at her, lightsaber raised for a killing blow. All technique, all strategy, all caution has been abandoned. He's operating on pure rage now. The same rage that consumed him when he slaughtered the Sand People. The same rage that took him into the Jedi Temple on that terrible night. Exactly as Kira intended. She sidesteps his rush and catches his blade in a bind, using his momentum against him. He's overextended, off balance, exactly as she predicted. A pivot, a twist, and her knee slams into his wounded shoulder, the one Windu scorched earlier. Vader grunts in pain, his grip loosening for just a fraction of a second. It's enough. She disengages and spins, her lightsaber carving a precise arc that she's practiced 10,000 times. The blade meets his wrist, and with a hiss and a spray of sparks, his mechanical right hand separates from his arm. Vader's lightsaber clatters to the ground, its crimson blade extinguishing with a fading hiss. The weapon that has killed thousands, that has become a symbol of terror across the galaxy, lies dark and useless on the ancient stone. The Dark Lord of the Sith falls to his knees, his remaining hand clutching the sparking stump of his arm. His breathing is desperate, ragged, the damaged respirator barely able to keep him alive. Without his hand, without his weapon, with his life support failing, he's helpless. Through the crack in his mask, Kira can see his eye, and the emotion there surprises her. Not rage, not hatred, not defiance, fear. The most feared man in the galaxy is afraid. Afraid of her, afraid of death, afraid of what comes after. She stands over him, her lightsaber raised. One strike, and it's over. One strike, and she avenges Windu, avenges her parents, avenges everyone who ever suffered under the Empire. This is the moment she's been training for her entire life. This is why she exists. Her arm is steady. Her blade hums with deadly purpose. All she has to do is bring it down. She looks into Vader's eye and sees the broken man beneath the mask. Not a monster, not a demon, just a scared, pathetic creature who destroyed everything he loved and has been running from that truth ever since. A slave who traded one set of chains for another. A child who was told he was special and couldn't handle it when the galaxy proved more complicated than the prophecy suggested. Her lightsaber wavers. Windu's voice echoes in her memory. What you do with that capability is up to you. Is this victory? Executing a helpless, broken man? She could do it. Part of her wants to do it. The part that remembers her parents, that remembers Windu falling, that remembers every atrocity the Empire has committed. That part is screaming for vengeance, demanding blood, insisting that justice requires his death. But another part of her, a quieter part, remembers what Windu said on their last night together. Perhaps the greatest victory over Vader wouldn't be killing him, but showing him there's another way. She thinks about what killing him would mean, not just for her, but for the galaxy. Vader dead is a martyr, a symbol for the Empire to rally around. Vader dead is proof that violence is the only answer, that the cycle of revenge can never be broken. But Vader defeated, Vader spared, Vader shown mercy by someone who had every reason to kill him. That's something else entirely. That's a crack in the foundation of everything the Empire believes. That's proof that the darkness can be overcome without becoming darkness yourself. She deactivates her lightsaber. The hum fades, and the purple glow disappears, leaving only the gray light of the overcast sky. Kira clips the weapon to her belt and looks down at the fallen Dark Lord. Vader stares at her, uncomprehending. "Why?" he rasps. His voice is barely audible over the sound of his failing respirator. Why do you hesitate? This is your moment. This is what you were created for. Finish it, because you're not worth it. Kira's voice is calm, steady, almost gentle. You're not worth becoming the thing I've been trained to destroy. Windu wanted me to kill you, but he also taught me to master my emotions. So that's what I'm doing. I'm choosing to walk away. You will regret this. Vader's voice is thick with pain and confusion, but also with something that might be hope. I will hunt you. I will destroy everything you care about. Maybe. Kira turns her back on him, an act of contempt more profound than any physical blow. But you'll do it as a wounded, broken failure who got beaten by the weapon Mace Windu forged. And every time you look in the mirror, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that you had all that power, all that rage, and it still wasn't enough. You'll remember that someone looked at the monster you've become and decided you weren't worth killing. She begins to walk away, then pauses. There's one more thing she needs to say. One more wound she needs to inflict, not out of cruelty, but out of something that might, in time, become mercy. You know what the worst part is? She doesn't turn around. Padme didn't give up on you. She believed in you until the end. Even when you were choking her, she was still trying to reach the good inside you. She died, believing that Anakin Skywalker was still in there somewhere, waiting to come back. Her voice softens, just slightly. Maybe she was right. Maybe there's still something left of the man she loved. I don't know, and I don't care. But if there is, if any part of Anakin Skywalker is still alive in that broken shell, then you should know this. You can still choose differently. It's not too late. It's never too late. She leaves without looking back. Behind her, Darth Vader's anguished scream echoes through the ruins. It's a sound of pain and loss and something else. Something that might be the first stirrings of a conscience that's been dormant for 20 years. Imperial forces arrive hours later, responding to Vader's emergency beacon. They find their master on his knees in the courtyard, his armor damaged, his respirator barely functioning, his right hand severed and cauterized. The officers who find him don't ask what happened. They don't dare. They simply load him onto the shuttle and transport him to the nearest medical facility, where teams of surgeons work through the night to repair the damage. Vader survives. He always survives. But this time is different. As he lies in the medical bay, mechanical systems humming around him, he finds himself unable to stop thinking about what the woman said, about Padme, about his mother, about the choices he made and the person he became. He has buried these thoughts for 20 years, walling them off behind layers of rage and denial. But the woman, Windu's weapon, found cracks in those walls. Her words wormed through his defenses and touched wounds he thought had scarred over long ago. She showed him mercy. It's the thing that confuses him most. She had him defeated, helpless at her mercy. Every Jedi he's ever faced would have killed him given the opportunity. Every Sith would have done the same. But she chose to spare him. Why? The question nags at him as he recovers. He tells himself it was weakness, foolishness, a mistake she will regret. But deep down, in a place he doesn't like to acknowledge, he wonders if it was something else. Something he abandoned long ago. For the first time in decades, Darth Vader allows himself to think about what might have been. If he had made different choices. If he had listened to Padme instead of Palpatine. If he had been the man she believed him to be. The thoughts are painful, but he doesn't push them away. Not this time. A seed has been planted in the darkest corner of his soul. It will take years to grow, but one day, when a young man named Luke Skywalker stands before him and offers the same mercy Kira showed, Vader will remember this moment, and he will finally make the right choice. Kira Voss disappears into the galaxy. The Empire searches for her with renewed intensity, but she learned well from Windu. She knows how to hide, how to survive, how to move through the shadows unseen. She travels to worlds the Empire has forgotten, places where the rebellion against Palpatine's rule is slowly beginning to coalesce. She finds scattered groups of fighters, idealists who believe the Empire can be defeated, and she offers them her skills, not as an assassin. That chapter of her life is over, but as a teacher, a trainer, someone who can help them prepare for the battles to come. The alliance to restore the Republic is still years from being formally established, but its seeds are being planted across the galaxy. Kira helps tend those seeds wherever she finds them, passing on what Windu taught her to a new generation of fighters. She doesn't tell them about the day she defeated Vader. Some victories are too personal to share, but she carries the memory with her, a reminder of what she could have become and what she chose instead. Sometimes, late at night, she sits alone and thinks about the old man who saved her. Mace Windu was many things: a brilliant warrior, a harsh teacher, a man consumed by revenge. But in the end, he gave her something more valuable than combat skills or force techniques. He gave her a choice. He could have molded her into a killer, a weapon without conscience or restraint. He had the power to do it, and for years she thought that was exactly what he intended. But on that last night, he revealed the truth. The choice of what to do with her power was always going to be hers. She chose mercy. She chose to walk away. And in doing so, she proved that the light side of the Force is stronger than the darkness. Not because it grants greater power, but because it grants the wisdom to know when not to use that power. Windu would have approved, she thinks, even if he never would have admitted it. The weeks following the confrontation are difficult. Kira finds passage off Anda Prime on a cargo freighter, hiding among the crates until she's far enough from Imperial space to feel safe. She changes her appearance, cutting her hair short, adopting clothing that helps her blend in with the rough workers who populate the outer rim. She mourns Windu in her own way. There's no funeral, no memorial service, no one to share her grief with. She sits alone in the cargo hold, staring at the stars, and remembers the man who saved her, his harsh lessons, his rare moments of approval, the pride in his eyes when she finally mastered Varpad. He was not a good man in the traditional sense. He was consumed by revenge, willing to sacrifice anything, including her, to achieve his goal. He manipulated her grief, shaped her into a weapon, pushed her to the edge of the dark side, and yet he also set her free. He gave her a choice when he could have given her orders. He taught her to think for herself when he could have taught her only to obey. In the end, for all his talk of creating a weapon, he created something more. A person capable of making her own decisions. A warrior who chose her own path. She wonders if he planned it that way. If, in his own twisted manner, he was trying to give her the freedom the Jedi Order never gave Anakin. The freedom to feel, to choose, to be fully human while still serving something greater than herself. She'll never know, but she chooses to believe it. Years pass. The Empire grows more oppressive, and the rebellion grows stronger in response. Kira watches from the shadows as the conflict builds toward its inevitable climax. She hears rumors of a young man from Tatooine, a pilot who destroyed the Death Star with an impossible shot. The Force is strong with him, people say. He's the son of Anakin Skywalker. The name sends a chill through her. She knows what Anakin Skywalker became, knows the horror he's inflicted on the galaxy. And now, his son has emerged, strong in the Force, at the heart of the rebellion. She reaches out tentatively with the Force, trying to sense this Luke Skywalker from afar. What she feels surprises her. Light. Pure, uncomplicated light. Where Anakin's presence was always tinged with shadow, with the fears and attachments that eventually consumed him, Luke burns with a simple, straightforward hope. He's different from his father. Fundamentally, essentially different. The same power, perhaps, but channeled through a very different soul. Qi'ra thinks about reaching out to him, offering to help with his training. She knows things about his father that might be useful, insights into Vader's psychology that could help Luke survive their inevitable confrontation. And her combat skills, her understanding of the line between light and dark, could be valuable to a young Jedi still finding his way. But something holds her back. His path is his own to walk, just as hers was. The Force will guide him where he needs to go. Her interference might help, but it might also hinder. Better to watch from a distance, to be ready if she's needed, but not to force herself into a story that isn't hers. Instead, she continues her work in the shadows, training fighters, gathering intelligence, helping the rebellion prepare for the battles that will determine the galaxy's fate. She never forgets Mace Windu. She carries his teachings with her every day, the harsh lessons and the hidden wisdom. He taught her to fight, to kill, to walk the edge between light and darkness. But his greatest gift was teaching her when to stop. She thinks about that often. About the moment when her lightsaber was raised over Vader's head, when she could have ended him with a single stroke. About the choice she made and why she made it. It would have been easy to kill him. Part of her wanted to, desperately. The part that remembered her parents, that remembered Windu falling, that remembered every atrocity she'd witnessed in her years of training. That part screamed for vengeance, for blood, for an ending to the nightmare Vader represented. But another part, the part that Windu cultivated, without perhaps intending to, understood that killing Vader wouldn't bring her parents back, wouldn't bring Windu back, wouldn't undo a single one of the Empire's crimes. It would just make her a killer, another link in an endless chain of violence and retribution. And it would prove Vader right. Prove that in the end, power is all that matters, that the strong destroy the weak and call it justice. She chose differently. She chose to show that there's another way, that even in the face of absolute evil, mercy is still possible, that the darkness doesn't have to win. The Jedi taught that emotions were to be suppressed, denied, eliminated. The Sith believed that emotions were to be embraced, indulged, surrendered to. Windu tried to walk between those extremes, and he nearly lost himself in the attempt. Qi'ra found a different path. She embraced her emotions, acknowledged their power, and then chose when and how to express them. She felt her anger at Vader, let it fuel her during their battle, and then set it aside when it no longer served her purpose. It's not a path the Jedi Order would have approved of. It's not a path the Sith would have understood, but it's hers, and she walks it without shame. Somewhere in the Force, she likes to believe Mace Windu finally found peace. Not the hollow serenity the Jedi preached, but genuine peace. The peace that comes from knowing your legacy is secure, that the things you fought for will continue after you're gone. She hopes he's proud of her. She hopes he's watching as she helps the rebellion grow stronger. as she trains the next generation of warriors, as she proves that the darkness can be defeated without surrendering to it. And she hopes that one day, when her own time comes, she'll be able to face whatever lies beyond with the same courage he showed at the end. Until then, she has work to do. The galaxy won't save itself, but there is more to tell. The story doesn't end with Kira's mercy or Vader's survival. The ripples of that confrontation spread across the galaxy, touching lives neither of them would ever know about. On Alderaan, a young princess named Leia Organa hears whispers of a warrior who defeated Darth Vader in single combat. The stories are vague, distorted by distance and time, but they give her hope. If Vader can be beaten once, perhaps he can be beaten again. Perhaps the Empire isn't as invincible as it seems. She files the information away for later use, adding it to the growing collection of intelligence she's gathering for the rebellion. Someday, she knows, this information might prove useful. Someday, someone might need to face Vader again. And when they do, they'll need every advantage they can get. On Tatooine, a boy named Luke Skywalker knows nothing of the events on Andor Prime. He lives with his aunt and uncle, dreaming of adventure, unaware that the father, he was told, died as a navigator on a spice freighter, is actually the most feared being in the galaxy. But the Force works in mysterious ways. Sometimes, late at night, Luke dreams of a woman with a purple lightsaber standing over a fallen giant. He doesn't know what the dreams mean, but they feel important. They feel like a promise, or perhaps a warning. One day, he will understand. One day, he will face his own choice, stand over his own fallen enemy, and decide whether to show mercy or take revenge. And perhaps in that moment, some part of him will remember the dream. And on the Executor, Darth Vader sits in his meditation chamber and thinks. The repairs to his body are complete. His hand has been replaced with a new prosthetic, more advanced than the one he lost. His respirator has been restored to full functionality, the damaged components replaced with upgraded versions. His armor has been reinforced, the weak points identified in the battle with Kira, strengthened against future exploitation. Physically, he is as strong as ever, perhaps stronger. The Empire's finest engineers have worked around the clock to ensure that their master is returned to full combat readiness. But something has changed inside him. For 20 years, he has buried his past beneath layers of rage and darkness. He told himself that Anakin Skywalker was dead, that only Vader remained. He convinced himself that the choices he made were necessary, inevitable, the only path forward. He built walls around his memories, around his guilt, around the broken pieces of the man he used to be. Kira Voss showed him the lie at the heart of that belief. She beat him, not through superior power or dark side mastery, but through skill, determination, and a willingness to use his own weaknesses against him. She stripped away his defenses and forced him to confront the truth he's been running from. And then, she walked away. She could have killed him, should have killed him, by any reasonable measure. He's a monster who has murdered thousands, who has crushed countless worlds beneath the Empire's boot, who has personally executed Jedi, rebels, and innocents without hesitation or remorse. By every moral calculus, his death would be a net good for the galaxy. But she showed him mercy instead. It haunts him. In the quiet moments between missions, when the mechanical systems keeping him alive are the only sound, he finds himself returning to that moment. The look in her eyes when she made her choice. the contempt in her voice when she told him he wasn't worth falling for. She was right. That's the thing that eats at him most. She was right about everything. About Padme, about his mother, about the choices he made, and the man he became. He destroyed everything he loved, and he's been punishing the galaxy for his own sins ever since. The realization doesn't change anything. Not yet. He's still Vader, still the Emperor's enforcer, still the monster the galaxy fears. The darkness is too deeply rooted to be expelled by a single moment of clarity. The Emperor's hold on him is too strong, the chains of his servitude too firmly locked. But the seed has been planted, and seeds, given time, can grow into mighty trees. He thinks about Padme more often now, not just as a source of pain, a wound to be exploited by his master, but as a person. He remembers her smile, her laugh, the way her eyes lit up when she talked about democracy and justice and the better world she wanted to build. She believed in him. Even at the end, even when he was choking her, she believed there was good in him. He wonders if she was right. He wonders if it matters. Kira settles on a small world in the Outer Rim, a place called Dantooine that will one day host a rebel base. For now, it's just a farming community, peaceful and isolated, the kind of place where someone can disappear. She doesn't use her real name here. She calls herself Kira Ven, a distant enough variation to feel like a new identity, while still allowing her to respond naturally when someone addresses her. She doesn't tell anyone about her past or her training. She's just a traveler, a worker, someone willing to help with the harvest in exchange for food and shelter. It's the first time in her life she's known peace. For so long, every moment was dedicated to preparation, training, studying, planning for the confrontation she knew was coming. Every day was focused on a single goal, every night haunted by dreams of the battle ahead. Now that it's over, she doesn't quite know what to do with herself. The first few weeks are the hardest. She wakes before dawn, her body conditioned to begin training, only to remember that there's no training to be done. She reaches for her lightsaber when strangers approach, only to remind herself that not everyone is an enemy. She catches herself analyzing the combat potential of farmers and shopkeepers, planning escape routes and ambush points in places where no ambush is coming. Slowly, gradually, she learns to relax. She learns to enjoy simple pleasures, good food, warm sun, conversations that aren't about tactics or psychology or the vulnerabilities of enemies. Laughter, genuine laughter, not the bitter amusement of someone who's lost everything. She makes friends, not close friends, not yet, but people she likes spending time with. The elderly farmer who lets her work his fields in exchange for meals. The young mother who teaches her to cook local dishes. The children who follow her around, fascinated by the stranger who moves like water and never seems to make a sound. She considers seeking out other Jedi survivors. She knows they exist, scattered across the galaxy, hiding from the Empire's hunters. Perhaps she could find them, help them, build something new from the ashes of the Order. But every time she reaches out with the Force, she senses how few they are. The Purge was devastatingly effective. The Jedi who remain are isolated, frightened, hiding from a galaxy that has turned against them. Many have abandoned the Force entirely, suppressing their abilities to avoid detection. She can't rebuild the Order. No one can. That dream died on Coruscant, along with everything else. What she can do is help the rebellion. She starts small, making contact with local resistance cells on Dantooine. They're suspicious of her at first, this stranger with fighting skills far beyond anything they've seen. She demonstrates some basic combat techniques during a training session, and their suspicion turns to awe. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" they ask. "From a teacher who had no patience for mediocrity," she replies. She proves herself over time, helping with missions, providing intelligence, training their fighters in techniques they've never encountered. She teaches them to move silently, to strike from unexpected angles, to use their environment as a weapon. She doesn't teach them about the Force, not directly, but she shows them how to trust their instincts, how to feel the flow of a battle, how to know when to attack and when to retreat. Word spreads. Other cells reach out, asking for her help. She travels across the outer rim, moving from world to world, never staying too long in one place. She teaches what Windu taught her, adapting his lessons for non-Force users, helping ordinary people become extraordinary warriors. She never tells them the full truth about herself. They don't need to know about Vader, about the confrontation, about the choice she made. What they need is hope. And she gives them that. She shows them that the Empire can be fought, that its enforcers can be defeated, that even the smallest person can make a difference. But she keeps her lightsaber close, hidden but ready. Some habits are impossible to break. Years pass. The rebellion grows from scattered cells into a coordinated movement. Kira watches from the shadows as the alliance takes shape, as leaders emerge, as the pieces fall into place for the conflict that will determine the galaxy's fate. She's there when the Death Star plans are stolen, though her role is minor, just one fighter among many. She helps infiltrate an Imperial facility, providing distraction while others copy the data they need. It's dangerous work, but not as dangerous as what she trained for. Nothing will ever be as dangerous as that. She's there when Alderaan falls, though she arrives too late to save anyone. She feels 2 billion lives cry out, and then fall silent. A wave of death and anguish that crashes over her through the Force. She drops to her knees, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the loss. She weeps for them as she wept for her parents. For a moment, she's that 10-year-old girl again, hiding in a ventilation shaft while her world burns around her. The grief is fresh and raw, as if no time has passed at all. But she doesn't give in to despair. She can't afford to. The rebellion needs her. And more importantly, the people of Alderaan, the billions who died in that moment, deserve better than her surrender. She channels her grief into action, just as Windu taught her. She fights harder, trains harder, pushes herself and the rebels she works with to new levels of dedication. If the Empire can destroy an entire planet without hesitation, then the rebellion must be prepared to sacrifice everything to stop them. When the Death Star is destroyed, she allows herself a moment of hope. The impossible has happened. The Empire's greatest weapon has been turned to dust, and the man responsible is a farm boy from Tatooine, who she's never met but feels connected to in ways she doesn't fully understand. The Force is moving. She can feel it, a great tide sweeping across the galaxy, pushing toward a reckoning that has been building for decades. And she intends to be there when it arrives. The Battle of Yavin changes everything. The rebellion is no longer a scattered group of terrorists and malcontents. It's a genuine threat, an organization capable of taking on the Empire and winning. Kira increases her involvement. She trains pilots, advises commanders, and occasionally takes the field herself for missions that require her particular skills. She's careful to avoid situations where she might encounter Vader directly. Not out of fear, but because she doesn't want to undo what she accomplished on Ander Prime. She showed him mercy. She planted a seed. She needs to give that seed time to grow. Besides, there's someone else who will face Vader. Someone whose destiny is intertwined with the Dark Lord's in ways even she can't fully comprehend. Luke Skywalker. She watches him from a distance, this young man who carries so much weight on his shoulders. He has his father's power in the Force, his father's reckless courage, his father's desperate need to save the people he loves. But he also has something Anakin lacked, something that might make all the difference. He has hope. Where Anakin saw obstacles, Luke sees opportunities. Where Anakin feared loss, Luke embraces connection. Where Anakin demanded control, Luke accepts uncertainty. There's a lightness in him, a fundamental optimism that his father never possessed. He's not perfect. He's young, impetuous, prone to rushing into situations without thinking them through. He's naive in ways that sometimes make her wince, trusting people he shouldn't trust, taking risks that could get him killed. But at his core, there's a light that the darkness can't extinguish. She wants to approach him, to offer her help, to share what she knows about his father. But something holds her back. The Force whispers that his path must be his own, that her interference would do more harm than good. So she watches and waits and hopes. The months stretch into years. The war grinds on, a brutal conflict that claims millions of lives on both sides. Kira loses friends, allies, people she's come to care about. Each death is a wound, but she doesn't let the wounds consume her. She remembers what Windu taught her. Emotions are tools. Grief can become determination. Loss can become purpose. She keeps fighting. When word reaches her of what happened on Cloud City, she feels a chill run down her spine. Luke faced Vader and learned the truth about his father. He lost his hand, fell into a chasm, and barely escaped with his life. But he survived. And more importantly, he didn't fall to the dark side. He made a different choice than his father did. When offered power and tempted by darkness, he chose to fall rather than surrender. He chose death over corruption. The seed is growing. She can feel it, not just in Luke, but in Vader himself. Something is shifting in the Force. Old patterns breaking apart, new possibilities emerging from the chaos. The Battle of Endor approaches. Kira is part of the ground team assigned to destroy the shield generator. Fighting alongside rebels, she's come to consider family. The battle is brutal, chaotic, nothing like the precise duels she trained for. But she excels anyway. Windu's training applies to any combat situation, not just lightsaber duels. She moves through the Imperial forces like a shadow, striking from unexpected angles, disappearing before they can respond. When the shield goes down and the Death Star explodes, she allows herself to hope that it's finally over. Then she feels it through the Force. Vader. His presence, which has been a constant dark star in her awareness for years, suddenly flickers. The rage that defined him for so long begins to dim, replaced by something she never expected to sense from him. Peace. She reaches out with the Force, trying to understand what's happening on the Death Star. She feels Vader's life force fading, feels the darkness that consumed him for 20 years, finally releasing its grip. And she feels something else. Something buried so deep, she almost missed it during their confrontation all those years ago. Light. In his final moments, Darth Vader becomes Anakin Skywalker again. The seed that was planted on Andor Prime, nurtured through years of doubt and reflection, finally blooms. He turns against his master, destroys the Emperor, and saves his son. He dies, redeemed. Kira senses the moment of his passing, and feels tears streaming down her face. She's not sure if they're tears of grief or joy or something in between. She showed him mercy. She gave him a chance he didn't deserve. And in the end, he used that chance to save the galaxy. Mace Windu would have been proud, not of Vader's redemption, perhaps, but of her choice to make it possible. The war doesn't end with Endor, but the tide has turned. The Empire fractures, its leadership decimated, its military scattered. The new Republic rises to take its place, and Qi'ra watches as the galaxy begins to rebuild. She considers revealing herself now, coming out of the shadows, sharing her story, taking her place among the heroes of the rebellion. But something about that feels wrong. She was never supposed to be a hero. She was supposed to be a weapon. The fact that she became something more is a testament to the choice she made, not to any inherent virtue. Besides, the galaxy has enough heroes. What it needs now are teachers. She travels to the new Jedi temple that Luke Skywalker is building, arriving unannounced one evening as the sun sets over the academy. Luke is there to greet her, his face showing curiosity rather than alarm. "I've been wondering when you'd come," he says. Qi'ra raises an eyebrow. "You know who I am. I know you faced my father. I felt it years ago, though I didn't understand what I was feeling at the time." He pauses. He thought about you near the end. I saw it in his memories when I removed his mask. What did he think? That you were the first person to show him mercy in 20 years. That your choice haunted him. That it made him wonder if he was capable of making the same choice. Qi'ra considers this for a long moment. Then she nods slowly. "I'd like to help, if you'll have me." Luke smiles. "I'd be honored." She doesn't become a master at the academy. That title carries too much weight, too many associations with the old order that failed so catastrophically. Instead, she serves as an instructor, teaching combat techniques and the philosophy that Windu passed down to her. She tells the students about walking the line between light and dark, about embracing their emotions without being controlled by them, about the difference between justice and revenge. She tells them about Mace Windu, the harsh master who saved her and shaped her into something capable of making a difference. She shares his lessons, his wisdom, and his warnings. She tells them how he survived the impossible fall from Palpatine's window, how he spent years in hiding, nursing his wounds and his hatred, how he found a broken girl and saw in her the potential to change the galaxy. She tells them that Windu wasn't perfect. He was driven by revenge, consumed by his failure, haunted by the ghosts of everyone he couldn't save. He made mistakes. He pushed her too hard sometimes, and not hard enough other times. He struggled to balance the darkness he carried with the light he tried to preserve. But in the end, he found his way. He gave her the tools to defeat Vader, but more importantly, he gave her the wisdom to choose what to do with that victory. He trusted her to make the right decision, even when he wasn't sure what that decision should be. That trust was his greatest gift. And she tells them about the choice she made on Andor Prime, about standing over a defeated enemy and choosing mercy instead of vengeance. Some of the students don't understand. They argue that Vader deserved to die, that killing him would have been justice. Qi'ra doesn't disagree, but she explains that sometimes the right choice isn't about what your enemy deserves. It's about who you want to be. She stays at the academy for years, watching a new generation of Jedi take shape. They're different from the old order, in ways both subtle and profound. They're allowed to form attachments, to feel emotions, to be fully human, while still serving the light. It's not perfect. Nothing ever is. But it's better than what came before. Eventually, she feels the call to move on. The Force whispers of other places that need her, other students who could benefit from her teaching. She says goodbye to Luke, to the students she's come to care about, to the life she's built. She wanders the galaxy for years after that, never settling in one place for too long. She helps where she can, teaches when she's asked, and continues to walk the line between light and dark. She thinks about Mace Windu often, about the man he was and the lessons he taught, about the revenge that consumed him and the wisdom he found at the end. She thinks about Vader too, about the monster he became and the man he was redeemed into, about the seed she planted and the fruit it eventually bore. The Force is strange. It connects all living things, binds the galaxy together, shapes destinies in ways no one can fully comprehend. She was supposed to be a weapon, forged for destruction. Instead, she became something else. A teacher, a healer, a bridge between light and dark. Mace Windu created her to destroy Darth Vader. In a way, she did exactly that. Not through death, but through mercy, through showing him that another way was possible. The monster died on the Death Star, but it was already dying long before that. It started dying the moment she lowered her lightsaber and walked away. She saved him. Not his life, but something more important. His soul. As she grows older, Qi'ra begins to feel the Force calling her home. Not to any physical location, but to the great mystery that lies beyond death. The place where Windu waits, along with all the Jedi who came before. She's not afraid. She's lived a full life, made choices she can be proud of, left the galaxy better than she found it. What more can anyone ask? On her final night, she sits on a cliff overlooking an ocean, watching the stars wheel overhead. The Force hums around her, peaceful and warm, welcoming her home. She thinks about her parents, murdered so long ago by Imperial troops. She thinks about Windu, the broken master who saw potential in a grief-stricken child. She thinks about Vader, the monster who became a man again. And she thinks about the choice that defined her life, the choice that proved she was more than a weapon, the choice that set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy. She smiles, closes her eyes, and lets the Force take her. Far across the galaxy, in the new Jedi temple, Luke Skywalker suddenly pauses in his meditation. He feels a familiar presence fade from the Force, replaced by a sense of peace and completion. He smiles sadly, honoring her memory with a moment of silence. Then he rises and goes to tell the students about Qi'ra Voss, about the weapon who became a teacher, about the woman who showed Darth Vader mercy and changed the course of history, about the choice that saved the galaxy. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.